So we are back with part 2 of my complete collection tour. Today we are going to be going through my mythographic shelf, which is what I call B1. I have C1, which is where I store nature, square books that are like nature or fantasy inspired. So think Mel Pamini Chatsapanagatu, think Lizzie Mary Cullen, think pop manga, Chameleia de Eero. So a lot of those books. And then we're going to skip down to C3, which is where I store my fandom books, where I've got, for example, my D&D colouring books, Lord of the Rings, I've got Tolkien, I've got Game of Thrones, Court of Thorns and Roses, I've got like a Stardew colouring book. It's where all my sort of colouring books relating to official media are. And that will basically be all the rest of my square style books, your good old square books. So yeah, we're going to start going through all of these books. It's going to take a while because we're aiming to do 3 shelves in this video. Okay, we have the list set up and ready to go, and now we're going to do mythographics and my couple of mythogorias that go in here as well. So as I am doing my complete collection tour, I've also been going through and most notably updating the location of where all my books are on my shelves, and then triple checking, I have everything recorded down. I found out that I had Wild Summer written down twice because one of them was meant to be Voyage. So this is why we do stock take and check these things. My book count was correct, I just hadn't updated the titles correctly. So yeah, and as we flick through them, this is also where I check the page count to make sure I've got the total that I've done in each book correct. So yeah, really, really handy to do this at the same time. But let's get into the actual books. So the way the mythographic shelf works, because this is one entire shelf that is just mythographics, I have my 2 mythogorias at the front, which flow really nicely into the mythographics because I have the mythogorias I have 2 mythogorias by 2 different artists. One of the artists is Alessandra Fusi, and then that starts off the mythographic shelf, which starts with Alessandra Fusi because that is in alphabetical order by author's name. So yeah, I have a lot of my shelves set up by alphabetical order. It just works for me. And Shadow has appeared because he believes I'm streaming. So we'll start off with my Mythogorias. And I said I had 2, but you'll see I have 3 books here. And that is because I have 2 copies of Nightmare Cabaret. Now this was actually some happy mail that was sent to me. I actually think this was meant to be an entirely different book because this has Mythographic Crystal Kingdom stuck on the back. I'm not sure what happened here, but basically this book arrived in and it was so badly chewed up. Like it was hammered. There's lots of damage on the front, but the fact is the book itself is absolutely fine to colour. There are a lot of creases in here. It's a totally fine book to colour. So when it came in, I did message the anonymous that gifted it to me and was like, hey, it's totally fine, but you should get some money back because this is terrible quality and not a great copy. I don't know what condition they said it was, but it's not great. So a replacement turned up for it, and I don't even know if that was originally what was ordered, but hey, I'm grateful for it. I do have someone to eventually pass this on to, or even if I don't get it to them, I will find a home for this one eventually. So I don't count this second copy as part of my collection. It just lives on the shelf in my collection. Shadow, you cannot be up here today. You're a pain in the butt. I know. You're the biggest part of my collection. I know, but I can't have you up here today. Let's see if I can deal with him before carrying on. Wow, I just accidentally tipped out half a bag of treats, so he's really happy. But yeah, So this copy doesn't count in my collection, but is on the shelf for now until it finds a new home. And then this one here, completely unworked. I haven't worked it yet. It is very intense and very spooky, but it is really cool. And I do actually really like flipping it. I do like a little bit of spooky colouring. I have come to accept. I thought I was always cutesy rainbow, but I do like a little bit of spooky colouring. I just have to be in the right mindset for it. So yeah, so I will get to this one eventually. And then my other Mythogoria that I have is probably my favourite Mythogoria, but admittedly I don't look at all the Mythogorias up close. I know I've got the rest of Alexander Fusi's Mythogorias, and I've got Fabiana Attanasio's Mythogorias on my wish list because I love both those illustrators. And Alexander Fusi, oh my god, this Mythogoria, Alexander Fusi's people is fabulous. Like, their portraiture work. So this is Undead Academy. I've not worked in this one yet, but I have flipped this so many times. I never thought I would get a Mythogoria until Candice from Happy Catastrophe flipped this book, and watching that video, seeing her excitement for this book, and looking at the portraiture work in here, I went, yes, I need this book. I just love how Alessandra Fusi does characters, which is a big reason why I really, really wanted to get the Magical Worlds, Mythical Worlds, their independent book, which I do also have, but that's on a different shelf. But yeah, Alexander Fusi, fabulous, fabulous illustrator. So yeah, those are my Mythogorias, and as I said, no work in any of them. So that leads us into the Mythographics, and we start with the Alexander Fusi ones. So again, this is in alphabetical order, so illustrator alphabetical order, and then title alphabetical order. It makes sense to my brain. I suppose some people would put the whole shelf in alphabetical order by title, or put it in publication order. I don't know. It works for me. It works for me. It works for how the spreadsheet is set up as well that I use to track. So yeah. So we'll start off with Dreamweaver, which according to my spreadsheet, I have done one in, and I do remember this one. Oh my gosh, I just saw the kitty at the back. That's so cute. Might need to look at colouring that one. This one is really gorgeous. It's very fine detail though, which is something about Alexander Fusi, and a reason why I know a lot of people are not a big fan of the Mythographics with their work, because it's just so detailed. Like, this needs to be bigger to be more colorable. Like, some of those tiny little details, you're definitely pulling out fine liners and your sharpest pencils to do these bits, or you can do what I did in here. So I have done, once I peel that tissue off, I have done this beautiful icy water merm snow queen. Oh yeah, I love, love, love how she turned out. So I believe I used Inktense to base. I did. And then I used Polychromos to shade on top. And there's a little bit of, this is a very much what can I throw at the page. So there's like some iridescent shimmer medium on the dolphins. It's kind of hard to see because everything has been coated in Mod Podge. So it did, I think I used Mod Podge matte, so some of the shimmeriness of the dolphins has come away. You can see a little bit there. There's paint pen over details as well, and you can see all the little loose glitter flakes that are dripped around the page as well, because there's a little bit of glitter plus stickles on her lips there. And then of course the main thing you'll be seeing is the fact that there's gems all over this page. So this had some really intricate jewelry all over her, and I didn't want to colour those tiny, tiny little gems. Like, again, really, really tiny detail in here. And I was like, I love this page, but I just cannot be asked to do all those tiny little gems. But I had a bunch of real life tiny little gems because I have these diamond painting leftover little diamonds and bits and pieces, and I was like, random pearls for nail decorating, and yeah, I just had all these random 3D gems. So I was like, you know what, let's just do it in actual gems, which is really cool. Like, it's a very 3D page now. It's really fun to sort of run your hands over. But that's also why this lives in here, because if it touches onto here directly, it's going to, like, indent into the page. I have no idea how I'm going to color this page in front of it. I'm going to need some, like, really solid card in here so that I don't pick up on the texture of this, because, yeah, she's 3D. She's actually 3D. But yeah, I do really like how this came together. I did this during a mermaid, because I was viewing her sort of like a snow queen or an ice queen or something. So yeah, I do really, really like how that one came together. So that's Dreamweaver. And then we have Shangri-La. I think that's how it's pronounced. I love, love, love this one. I got a lot of mythographics in 2025. A lot of mythographics. Like, this is a big, again, this is one entire shelf. It's just mythographics. And I haven't worked a lot of them yet. Which is a shame, but again, I got a lot of mythographics in. So, yeah. And, of course, Erika from Album Colours had 2025 be a focus of mythographics, and now in 2026 is doing other ones. And it's like, oh, now I need a mythographic focus year. But that's okay. Oh, that one's cute with all the candies. Oh, I might have to remember that one too. The great thing about doing this complete collection tour is it reminds me every year what my books are in my collection. I get so inspired doing this every year and just like re-falling in love with my collection. And honestly, like, these books are gorgeous. They're just beautiful works of art as is. But yeah, so that's Shangri-La unworked. And then my last Alexander Fusi one is Wanderlust. So I'm pretty sure with my mythographic collection, apart from some that released in 2025, I am pretty much up to date with all of them. I'm pretty sure pre-2025 I have all the mythographics. And of course there was a lot of mythographics released in 2025 as well. Yeah. This one's also very, very cute. This is a hidden objects one, but I don't mind the hidden objects. I can work with the hidden objects. You can hide them, but you can also just work them into the page. I am very glad they don't do them now, though. So yeah, this is another one with a lot of tiny detail. And it's going to be another, like, Alexander Fusi's work. The line work is gorgeous, but again, it is very detailed. But yeah, like this here, absolutely gorgeous, but that's a lot of line work. Just a simple thing of trying to remove the line work for the Aurora Borealis and doing my own might make that page just that little bit more breathable, I reckon. But yeah, it's very cool. Like the polar bear as an ice shelf. Very cool. Also, these little gingerbread men and a candy cane. So like, that's hidden objects, but it's kind of appropriate. These like a buoy for the ship. These are ice, like a boot for the ice skating, which isn't, again, still kind of appropriate because it's frozen, but this net, I suppose fishing, I don't know, you can kind of work it in, but you could also hide a lot of these. You could turn them into on the ice shelf very easily. So yeah, love, love, love. Oh, I love sea creatures, so I'm always gonna be like, oh, sea creature. Yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous book. So those are Alexander Fusi. Now I have two where I only have one from each artist on my shelf. And that is Magic Apothecary by Shelley Carroll and Illusion by Diego Weisberg. I'm probably butchering that. Yeah, so both of these again are also unworked, which is why I've just pulled them up together. Magic Apothecary, not my favourite. I do, when it first came in, I remember being a little disappointed with it and being like, now I believe Shelley Carroll does quite a few of the Mythogorias and may also be doing some of the new, I think it's Starkana, or maybe it's the story ones. I feel like something else in the mythographic range Shelley Carroll is doing, and I think there's some other ones that they're doing now. But yeah, when it first came in, I remember thinking, yeah. But now, with some time and with some reflection, I actually really like it. And I think at first I was thinking, you know, Fabiana and Joseph Catimbang, and the level of detail. Like, this is a good detailed page, and it's gorgeous, and I really do want to colour this one. I think it's stunning. But then there's also, like, that gem page before, where it's quite graphic and static. And at first I was like, especially because there's not as many people in here, which is admittedly what I also really enjoy colouring is people. So, you know, there's a bunch of like this where it's very graphic and static, and I was very like about it. But now looking back, I'm like, actually that's quite cool. Like, there's a lot of potential here. Again, it's just a very different style. So yeah, I actually do really, really like it now. So I have pulled it out to flip it a few times, but haven't actually sat down to colour in it, as per usual. I'm very much a mood colorist, and this year I'm really going to try and focus on colouring to my mood, although I did just see something, and I did just get an idea in my brain. This one here. That would be really cool to just focus on colouring, like doing some sort of watercolory inky background, colouring in the face, picking out some of the details that are there, but also using a bunch of my butterfly cutouts and stickers, and I have a lot of butterflies. That could be a fun collage page. Cool. Future Amy, keep this in the video so I remember. This is also why, if I get ideas while flipping these, I try to mention it in the video, because I watch back these videos throughout the year to remind me what's in my collection sometimes, and because I will put ideas in the video as I'm flipping the book, so it's like, oh yeah, I was going to do that page with that idea. So that's Magic Apothecary. And then we have Mythographic Illusion. I do apologize, I am recording very early in the morning, and I usually try to not film at this time, but I also, this complete collection tour takes so long, so I'm trying to break it up, and that means I need to film this very, very early in the morning. If the sun gets too bright, I'll readjust the camera. But yeah, this is by Diego Weisberg. I don't think they ever did another copy, another mythographic. I haven't heard of anything from them since. But yeah, this one's really cool. Lots of trippy perspective, which is really neat to see, and like all of the images have a lot of depth and perspective, which is really cool. Like everything, there's something, like, you know, there's something in the foreground, there's something in the midground, there's something in the background, and there's a really clear way to sort of push through the page, which I really appreciate. There's a lot of depth to this work, so, you know, like foreground, midground, background, and it's just pushes you through. So it's really well done in the layouts. Yes, I need to always been drawn to that one because it's a merm. And again, you've got that stairway that just sort of pushes you through the page. Like, it's really well designed. So I need to show this book some love. It is absolutely fabulous. So it's Mythographic Illusion. Okay, and then, oh, we get to my favourite mythographic illustrator. I know most people I have found when talking to about mythographic, it's either Joseph Catimbang or Fabiana Attanasio, which makes sense because they also have the most books in the mythographic range. So I'm not surprised. I love both of them, but Fabiana just wins it out for me because my two favourite mythographics are both Fabiana. And if anyone's wondering, they are Fairy Wonderland and Fantasy Forest. And then I think there's a third one that's called Fairy Forest or Fairy something. There's another one coming out that's another fairy based one in 2026, which I'm guessing is part 3, because I feel like Fairy Wonderland is part 1, Fantasy Forest is part 2. So I'm guessing there's a part 3 coming out this year, and I'm going to need that one because these two are my favourite, and it feels like it's going to be very much, you know, magical spirits, woodland spirits. I feel like it's going to be very much in that vibe. But anyway, you go back into the F section, and we'll start at the start with Cosmic Spirit, which this one is stunning, but again, I have not had a chance to work on it yet. I've seen so much work done in Cosmic Spirit though, and every time I see someone's work in it, I'm like, oh, I wanna, and then I feel like I can't do the page because I've just seen it and I need that to get out of my head. So many pages I look at this and I can think of somebody else's version of this page. So that is one of the reasons I haven't started tackling this book yet, is I've still got in my head so many other people's versions of these pages, and I can't look at a page and see how I'd approach it without seeing everyone else's page. So yeah, I need to kind of get that out of my head so I can approach it with fresh eyes, because honestly this book's gorgeous. I'm looking for Capricorn because of course I am a Capricorn. It's only a couple of days until my birthday, so I've been looking at all the Capricorn pages and everything. I love the Empress, but I still can't look at this without seeing Shel's Colouring Journey version. Yeah. Is there a Capricorn in here? I think Aries. Gotta be a Capricorn, right? Pisces. The World. Aquarius, which I also love Aquarius. Judgment. The Sun. Capricorn. It's like, I knew there was a Capricorn in here. Yeah, sea goat. See, I'm sure this is why I like Merms so much, because I'm a sea goat. Alright, so that's Cosmic Spirit. I'm going to pause for 2 seconds here and change the brightness, and hopefully battle the sun a bit. Okay, change the brightness, so hopefully now the uncoloured pages are a bit more balanced, but we won't blow out on the coloured pages because I actually have coloured pages to show in this one. Just one. Just one. But this is Mythographic Deep Blue, of course still Fabiana Attanasio, and I mean it's meant to be about Aquatic World, so of course I needed it because I love my sea creatures, but there's not actually as much underwater scenes as I thought there would be. There's still a lot, like don't get me wrong, there's still a lot, but I wish there was more Merms. But I mean I love colouring Merms. I still love it, but yeah, like, you know, there's a surprising amount of above the water scenes as well for a book that's meant to be about underwater scenes. So yeah, I was imagining this would be more like Deep Blue by Joseph Catimbang. Not Deep Blue, Aquatic by Joseph Catimbang. But maybe that was the point, is that Fabiana Attanasio didn't want to mimic Deep Blue, Aquatic. So, you know, it's their own interpretation. I do love this one. But yeah, I still would have needed this no matter what, because it's aquatic scenes and I love it. Love, love, love. But I have done one in here, which is Poseidon, and I actually have blacked out the frame on this one, so it's like even more like pow, which I really, really love. This one is actually entirely done in Inktense, tiny amount of white paint pen just to go over the edges and the bubbles, but otherwise entirely Inktense, and then acrylic paint for the border. And I was really trying to do like a yellow glow coming from on top and then a blue glow coming from underneath, so really playing with 2 light sources, which is how we get all these fun effects of the yellow and the blue. I love how it turned out. I'm still really, really pleased with this, and I believe it was only like 4 or 5 colors I used as well. I know Sicilian yellow was one of them, and then it's like the dusty purple. This is from the original 72 Inktense as well. I didn't have my newer ones here. But yeah, there was like a tealy blue, a brown, a purple, a yellow. I think there's a little bit of a darker blue down here that I might have worked in, or I might have just mixed like the purple and the blue and the browns. But yeah, very limited palette as well, which is really, really cool. So I still absolutely love, love, love how this page turned out. And yeah, I think this is actually still technically featured in my little intro starting thing as well, which I need to update because I haven't updated that since 2023. But yeah, love, love, love. So yeah, that's Mythographic Deep Blue. And then I have Dream Garden, which I should have one done in here as well, which I can see where it probably is. This one, of course, is a lot of florals, which you think I wouldn't like, because again, florals, but it's so cute. Like, yeah, there's a lot of flowers, but it's really just a lot of like fun critters and, you know, beautiful scenes. And I love that hedgehog. I've always loved that hedgehog. But the one I've done in here is this one. And so this is another hidden objects book. It is an older mythographic. I did also spill a cup of water on this side, so ignore that on there. We're going to focus on here. I love how this turned out. And this one, I actually spent a while hiding a lot of the hidden objects. So I think from memory, there's 19 or so hidden objects on the page. So some things like that planet was a coin. I think that planet was a piggy bank. There was a few things like there's technically like a little axe down here. I think there's a couple things within the jellyfish, and so I used either paint pens to hide lines. I kind of just tried to transform things where I could and just block out lines or work lines into what was around here. There's quite a few things in the water. There's something there. I remember there was like a carabiner in the jellyfish tails somewhere. I can't even see most of them because I've worked them in so well at this point, which is really cool. So yeah, and I love how this page turned out because of course it's jellyfish, so I love jellyfish, but I also just love the color palette. So all this I believe was based with Inktense. It was Inktense, and then I used polychromos over the top of it. I didn't base her in Inktense. I based her in Albert Dürer, so she would remain really, really pale while everything else was quite intense because I wanted, like I knew I wanted her with the white hair. I wanted her very pale and light and delicate. And then there's some gold gel pen as well for dotting around. And of course stickles in the water. And I remember doing this one during, there's some rope. I can see the rope there. I did this one, I think this is when like my elevator broke down, so I was stuck at my mum's again when I was in my old apartment, and yeah, the elevator broke down again, and I was like, I cannot mentally be stuck in my apartment again, so I came and stayed up at my mum's for like a weekend and did this up here. So yeah, that is a Dream Garden. And then I have Enchanted Castles, which should also have one page, and I do remember what one this is. This is a really neat, like if you like colouring buildings and structures, I want to do this one. There's so many rainbows and glitters, like fairy princess madness. Yeah, I love colouring buildings, and it's not all just buildings like this here, you know? This transforming her into there, like her going under the water in this underwater world, which you look at this way and then you can actually see the city, which is really cool. I think it's cool. But I have done this one here. So this one I think I used Inktense in the background and I wasn't happy with how my Inktense was looking, so I raided my mum's art supplies and she had this beautiful iridescent paint that shifts color, and I was like, can I use that please? And she's like, of course, because she's awesome like that. So I used that all over the background, and then Posca paint and glitter for all the clouds. And I knew I wanted to do rainbow butterflies, so going into this I had a very clear vision of the butterflies. So I was like, okay, I'll just do brown for the actual island and just keep this, you know, very minimal. So I just used Inktense. I think I need to go in there with a little bit of polychromos and just deepen up some shading, or maybe not the black because the black in polychromos is very warm, maybe like a really deep dark blue grey, and just put some depth into there because it's feeling very brown and warm, so it needs just a bit of cooling so some of it recedes back, so there's a bit more texture to this. But will I? Probably not, because at the time I finished this I was very happy with it when it was finished. Now I can look at it and go, yeah, it needed a little bit more here. But again, this is just reflections as you develop your eye. Yeah, I remember being just so happy with my butterflies. So again, Inktense pencils, and I went over the Inktense with polychromos to get like a really bright, bold rainbow, and then I went over all the lines of the butterfly with a black Posca, like the pen nib, the really, really tiny 0.7, and then I use my white Posca on top to do all the white details. So it would be really, really crisp, bold, bright butterflies, which I freaking love. But again, because this black is so intense here, I think this is where I've lost a lot of the darkness on here. So that's why I just need to push the darkness on here a bit more. But again, very, very happy with it. Very fun. Very magical fairy castle, which I love. Right, and then we have one of my favorites, Fairy Wonderland. And I've only done 2 in here, but still, it's double what some of the other ones have done. And yeah, I can see doing oh so much more in here. When I looked back on my list of what I coloured in 2025, I didn't pull out a lot of mythographics, which is really sad. So I do want to do some more mythographic work. I seem to deviate a lot more to simpler pages, but also knowing 2025, that's understandable. But yeah, this is one of my favourite mythographics. It is so gorgeous. I love the fairy theme. I just love the magical woodland, the magic, the sprites. It's just, oh, I love it. And this contains 2 of my favourite pages as well. So I did this one in 2024 and it ended up in my top of 2024. It was actually a buddy with the beautiful Jess from Colouring Bumblebee. I also still love her version of it as well. But yeah, as soon as we chose this page, I knew I wanted to do a white wolf and then have lots of glow effects. Like I had a very strong vision for this of the dark green, the white wolf, and lots of glow. And when I finished it, I was like, it came out exactly as I saw it, and I was so pleased. So I did use some ink tints to base, I believe. Yeah, definitely, especially in the background. And then I used Prismacolor to colour everything, because Prismacolor is great when you want to do some really odd blends into, especially for white. So I used Prismacolor so that we could do all the, reflex of the colour. And then there's a little bit of Posca to go around like the little light bubbles and eye reflex. Of course, a little bit of glitter for the wings. There's also a little bit of gold metallic gel pen on these little flowers as well. Yeah, I still absolutely one of my favorites. Absolutely love this page. And then the other one I've done in here, which is my 2025 page in here, which also ended up on my 2025 favorites, is this one here. So this one I do need to go around and border it. It needs cleaning up on the border just so it would present a bit better. At least with this one, it's quite a clean border, so I don't really need to border it. I might still do it, but this one definitely needs its border cleaned up. So I started off by basing with alcohol markers, and I used actually some really bright colours initially to base the page. And it was the same thing. I went into this page having a really strong vision of I want to have a really dark and then a real strong glow. I just realised because I turned the brightness up, it's also going to blow out the colour on this one quite a bit because it is a very dark page. So I'm just going to turn that back down to its normal setting. So you get a little bit more of the darkness. Still not going to pick it up entirely, but hey, these things never look the same on camera as they do in real life. So yeah, alcohol marker base, and then I used ink tints to base the rock because it's real easy to get like a mottled stone look on the ink tints. And then I used a water-based marker to actually create sort of like a vignette, so keeping it light in here but darker towards the outside, and then bringing it all together so that it looked like a little kitty was glowing. And then I used paint pens and a little bit of Prisma to do purple reflex. And then there is a little bit of glitter. I think there's actually a bit of purple shimmer on these purple things. And then when I activated the water-based marker, there was also glitter in the water, so that's where that comes from. But yeah, I don't mind the little subtle sparkle. I think it suits the page so well. And again, I freaking love, oh, and a little bit of gold jelly roll on the wings there too. Love, love, love this page as well. So yeah, I need to at least do one in 2026 so I can go back on my favorites again. But yeah, that's Fairy Wonderland. Absolutely love. And then we have its companion, Fairy Forest. Again, I feel like these two are sister books. They both deal with magical... Oh, sneak peek. I said that Rock Giant ended up in my favourites of 2025, but that was another 2024 one, wasn't it? Did I do that in 2025? Hold up, let's look at my list. Because it was actually the one in here that ended up in my favourites for 2025. Again, I just merged these two books. No, I did do the Rock Giant in April. Okay. Okay, well, the Rock one also could have ended up in my favourites, to be honest, but I just realised this is the one that actually ended up in my favourites. Maybe both of them ended up in my favourites. I can't remember. I'm losing the plot, guys. But once again, I also need to border this, so yeah, I need to clean up the border. I have got a chunky black Posca now, so it's a lot easier to do borders. So maybe this year I'll finally come in and actually do borders and make these look presentable when I actually present them. But this is the one that I've done in Fantasy Forest. Definitely done in 2025. This was done in July. Rock was done in April. Yeah, so this is Inktense 2 base, Polychromos for shading. There's a bunch of paint pens to erase lines, especially on the Fae, and there's also some Stickles glitter gel that I dabbled on there. It has all these gold stars in it. It's very appropriate. And yeah, once again, playing with the light sources, making it darker around the edges, lighter around here. Absolutely love, love, love. Once again, it ended up in my favorites for a reason. So I think once it's, framed up as well and this white is gone, it'll make things like the white of these flowers really appear. Just pop. So yeah, love, love, love. Again, I love these two books. They're gorgeous. Nice elephants. They're froggy. Oh, so pretty. I love this one. Again, you've got like a really cool follow through on that one. Jellyfish, rainbows. I've seen that rainbow tree one done recently and I was like, oh, I need to colour that page too. Yeah. Oh, love. Love, love, love. Frozen Fantasies. This is another unworked one. It's also another hidden objects one. It's so, so pretty. I'm not a seasonal colorist, so I could work on this now, even though it's summer here. Always love this frozen merm with all the ice blocks. And again, if you don't like the ice blocks, that could be transformed into ice or crystals, or like that can be hidden. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. You can see this is an older one because of how thick some of the lines are too. Like, it's really cool to have the books and see the illustrators' journey of how they illustrate. And you see it a lot, especially with the Joseph Catimbang ones, because they have so many of those too. Like, you can see the progression, and oh, yeah, so cool to see. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous. I'm looking to get forward to getting in here and getting a ton of glitter in here, because of course, glitter. And then we have Menagerie, which should have one done in here too. This is again another older one. I think this one doesn't have hidden objects, so it does not. That's right, I have my flamingo. I actually still really love this flamingo too. It's simple, but it's striking. Like, it just really works. So I did use a little bit of Inktense to just base everything, and then yeah, just checking it's not alcohol marker, but I can tell by these lilies I used Inktense. And then Polychromos for shading, lots of Posca to, like, for the crystals to do the outlines, highlights on the flamingo, and then gold paint pen to do all the gold dots and the moon. And I did actually do a border around it as well, just a clean little border. Didn't need much, but yeah. Again, it's just so simple. It's just a couple of colours, but it's just striking how it came together. Shadow's back. Yeah, I absolutely love, love, love this one. So that is Menagerie. And then we have one more Fabiana Attanasio, which we'll do while Shadow is here, because this is Paradise, and this one is unworked. This is a newer one to my collection as well. I love that. Absolutely stunning. So this one is Glorious Worlds is the theme. That one is gorgeous. Again, I just love Fabiana's work. Candyland. So yeah, we do have some hidden objects in here, it seems, but again, you can cover those up. Please don't knock the microphone, Shadow. I swear one of these days my microphone's going to break because of you. I know, you want cuddles. You've forgiven me for giving you flea treatment this morning. Seen that one done so many times. He was angry with me for a while because I gave him flea treatment, which is why I got treats, and that's probably why he's forgiven me, because I gave him treats. Yeah, so absolutely gorgeous, but completely unworked, and apparently is going to be Shadow's bed for a minute. So I'm going to give this cat a couple of scratches so he'll get off the desk, and then we will carry on with the Joseph Catimbang books. Okay, on to the next illustrator, which of course is Joseph Catimbang, which there's a lot of Joseph Catimbang books. Definitely the biggest collection, the biggest selection of the mythographic books is the Joseph Catimbang ones. And we're going to start with Animals, which is also the very first mythographic. So yeah, this is a very, very old, you can see the old linework styles of Joseph Catimbang. But this is so cool to have, and like it's a lot of just an animal and a lot of plants with random hidden objects. It's very same throughout the whole book, so I do love it, but if you don't like Kirby and his doodles, you may not be a fan of this. And as I said, it's very same throughout the whole book, but I still love it. I think it's really fun and lends itself to some creative ideas. And also the fact that this is the first mythographic, it's cool to have in the collection as well. I have done one page in here, which is this one here. And this is what I mean about it leaning to experimentation and playing. So for this one, I used Inktense and just did a rainbow all over. And then I got a bunch of my shimmer sprays in different colours and splattered them all over the place. As you can see, the way the splatters everywhere. And then I just pulled out paint pens and pulled out a few objects to shade in. I didn't shade in everything, as you can see. Added more splatter on top. Very simple, but it was a lot of fun to do all that. Of course, because I used the shimmer sprays, they went everywhere. So I just grabbed some black washi and glitter, because I was like, yeah, let's add more glitter to the page. And that's what I used to cover over the page. So yeah, it was a very chaotic, but it was a very fun page. And like I said, I feel like these sort of pages lend themselves to playing and a bit of chaos. And yeah, so that's Animals. And then we have Aquatic, which I think is probably my favourite of the Joseph Catimbangs. Maybe, I don't know. There's a few other. Dragon Spell's pretty good too. Wild Summer's pretty good too. But this one also deals with underwater. What I need is Joseph Catimbang to do another aquatic book, but in his new style. That's what I need. But, I love. So this one is unworked. This was a newer one to my collection last year. Oh, gorgeous. I have no doubts I'll pull this out during Mermaid if I don't pull it out beforehand, because yeah, it needs some love. Stunning book. Again, it is an older one, so it does have hidden objects. Then we have Aviary, which is of course birds, which birds aren't always my favourite, but it's so cute. And you can see the difference in his style here, because this is definitely his newer style. His line work is so much more delicate. His like shapes have gotten rounder and cuter, and his development with people, so good. But also just there's a lot more fluidity with the pages, while also being reined back in detail. So there's more space to breathe between the lines. I don't know how else to describe it, but they feel lighter but still just as detailed. So a lot of that's to do with the line weight as well. But yeah, I love that one. I've pulled out this a few times to do that bird with the brush and have it so like it's a rainbow of ink coming up. Keep meaning to do it a few times. Haven't gotten there. But I have done one in here, which is this one, which also really needs me to go around and do the border. So for this one, I used distress inks in the background, and then I coloured in the actual page with Inktense. And what was really interesting was because I put down some colour and activated the Inktense with water, distress ink activates with water, which is how I get this splashy sort of background. So when I was activating the colour, it was also picking up the colour behind it and tinting my colour, which gives everything this little bit of translucency or a glow, like the background is making it glow, which is really quite cool. It was a really fun effect to sort of play with. So I had a lot of fun playing around with that. So yeah, just all Inktense, a little bit of gold metallic pen to do in the centre of the flowers, plus the gold shimmer spray, which has been splattered on top. And when I eventually go in here and block out this border, it's just going to make it pop even more. So yeah, I just need to sit down and do like a borders day. So it's Avery. And then we have Dragonspell. I love Dragonspell. Again, I think this is one of his best books. It is fabulous. It deals with one of my favourite things, which is dragons. It's fantasy. It's gorgeous. I have pulled this out for so many months to be like, I'm going to work in it, and I never do. I joined the Dragonspell group going, oh, this will help me get into the book. I still haven't gotten into the book. I have flipped this book so many times. I love it. I can't seem to make myself work in it. Yeah, so I just need to 1 month when I'm in the mood. That's a big thing with 2026 is I'm not going to force myself to work in anything just because I need to work in it. I will get in the mood to do this eventually, and when I do, then I'll colour in it and it'll be waiting for me and I'll be so excited. But yeah, love Dragonspell. Right, Imagine, which is another, I was going to say this is the newest one, but I actually think this is my very first mythographic. Yeah, I think this was my first one way back in the day. Yeah, because that was a very old whip for a very long time. Again, needs a border doing. So this one I used Inktense to base and colour all the leaves and flowers. And then I used my Liquitex acrylic inks in the background with a bunch of salt to create this texture. But when I did the colours, it was so close to her and it was really hard to see her. And for a long time, I was really stuck because it was reading very similar in sort of tones. So I think this was a whip for like 3 years until I got inspired to come in one day and finish it. And then I pulled out water-based markers and just finished off all the little knickknacks and bobbly bits in here. And then I pulled out a bunch of shimmer markers to do a few like specific items and put a bit of detail. Pulled out my prismas to add in specifically the white because I needed to create that sharper edge so she was further out from the background because we needed some depth there. And use some paint pens to also help achieve that. And yeah, I'm so glad the page is done. I really do like how it came together. In retrospective, if I was to do this again, different colour background because she still gets a bit lost, but considering that choice was made, we've done our best with what we could. So yeah, I'm just glad the page is done. I think this is also featured in another book I have, so it's like I've got another opportunity. And again, another one where I need to border. But we have this one, and I remember being so proud when I did this because I really pushed through doing like a little bit of glow from here and reflex in the water and having translucency where you can see through. Like I was really trying to push myself to do that. So I was really pleased when I did do it. So Inktense base, polychromos for shading, lots of Posca paint pens on this one to outline and highlight. and a bit of stickles on the wings and stuff. I remember doing this one when I was out of town with my mum and my brother and my sister-in-law for one of my mum's markets. And we're staying at a motel, and I'm not a great sleeper if I don't take my sleep meds, and I couldn't take my sleep meds because of how early we had to get up the next morning. So I spent most of the night sitting in the kitchen of this motel colouring this. But I was sleeping in the lounge because they set up a bed in the lounge. So I just claimed that as my bed because I knew I'd be up for most of the night. So it worked out really well. So it was Mythographic Imagine. Then I have Mythographic Labyrinth, which is unworked. So far, my list is working out pretty accurately. This one's so cool. It's all like mazes. It's really, really neat. Yeah, so there's a few people's pages in this book, and I was like, I really need that one. And it is Joseph's newer style, so it is also really, really delicate. It's so cute, so sweet. But yeah, the mazes is a really interesting touch. It adds like a really interesting element to the page. So again, that was another 2025. Basically, all these unworked books are 2025. So you can see just how many I got in 2025. Quite a few mythographics. Oh, I just saw the kitty. Yeah. Black cat. It needs to be a black cat. And then you could do rainbow butterflies. And then you could do rainbow flowers, but you could choose a colour for the flowers. Keep that. Actually, that could work quite wow. Black and then greys and browns, a little bit more brown. And then rainbow butterflies, maybe like a yellow or a pink or a purple flower, maybe a blend of colours. Yeah. Might be something to work on after this video. There's a few of them. Again, this is a great thing about doing the complete collection tour. I just am like, oh yeah, that page. Also one of the reasons why I watched back this video a bit. Alright, phone's gone to sleep, so I queue up to go to Magical Earth. We should have 2 in here. Sounds correct to me. Again, absolutely gorgeous. Another one that I think will be in my top tier. Again, I do love a lot of Joseph's work. Fabiana is my favourite. I think if Joseph did a fairy or a mermaid book, or maybe a fairy and mermaid book, then I think that would be my favourite. I think that's all it would take. It's just to do basically fantasy for us. But I appreciate that they have different viewpoints and they don't always do the same things. Like they have some similar themes, but they haven't done the specific same theme, which would be very easy to do because these are a lot of mythographics that come out, right? But yeah, anyway, I've done this one. I love how this one turned out. This is like me attempting to do a bit of a bokeh background, which it's okay. It's not the greatest bokeh. I just used ink tints in a few different colours and then used some very cheap gouache in different colours. But yeah, not the greatest of bokeh backgrounds, but it's cool. It's a cool background. I would do these dots less obviously round. I try to blend them a bit more now. And then ink tints with polychromos for shading, and a little bit of stickles in the centre of the flowers, and paint pens, specifically the Ivory Posca. This is where I got my Ivory Posca and discovered how much I love Ivory Posca, because I originally coloured in these windows really, really dark, and I hated how it looked. And I, of course, had white Posca, but I had just brought the Ivory Posca. Oh, excuse me. Oh, something's tickling my throat. Ugh. Not what I need right now. But yeah, I had white Posca. I just brought this. And I wanted to keep this warm and inviting. And I knew if I did the white, it would also be too cool. So I was like, oh, I'll try the ivory in here. Tried it, loved it, and went, I need so many more ivories. So apart from the white Posca, ivory is my most used Posca. Ivory, white, and black. I use those 3 Poscas a lot. I have a lot of other Poscas, but yeah, those 3. And then the other one I've done in here is this one. I love how this one turned out as well. It's just, I mean, it's pink, purple, and blue. It's a good combo. You can't really go wrong with it. So in ink tints, polychromos, Poscas, and stickles. It's a very common combo for me. This one's not too bad in terms of the border, so it's not as desperately needing a frame up, but maybe one day I'll frame it up. Yeah, do love how it came together. It still needs some more contrast, like especially with the detail that's in that background. That background kind of needs blending a bit more. It's very splotchy, but yeah, this is not very standouty from the background, so it does need, like, this background needs to be way darker to like really make a difference between the background and the foreground. But I still love the page. I still think it's cool. Yeah, just in retrospective, I'd do that background a lot darker, but things you learn along the way. So that's Magical Earth. And then we have Odyssey, which is unworked. This one is mythical, so like fantasy and mythology, and really cool. Back to older style and hidden objects here, but very cool, very busy and detailed here. I do love that one. That one will be fun to do glow effects on. I will have to remove all these pre-drawn in light rings because they annoy me so much. Let me decide the light source. Don't put the light sources in for me. I appreciate you putting in a bit of shading, but let me determine the light sources. I love that one so much. Also, this Poseidon, so good. This Gorgon, oh, love. Actually, that might be fun for the light versus dark hashtag this year. Angels and demons. Yeah, so cool. And yeah, I'm excited to get into here and pull out something in this one as well. I love the mythos. And then we have Voyage, and it's funny because I've seen people talking about this one recently. Like, it just keeps on coming up in a bunch of different groups I'm in where they're like, oh, talking about Voyage. It's like, funny. Because for years I didn't hear anything about Voyage, and then all of a sudden it's Voyage. But yeah, this one's really neat as well. We're getting back into the newer style here. Kitty. Just lots of interesting perspectives, and yeah, just really neat. That's quite cool. That could be fun to do. Ooh, I like that one too. Absolutely gorgeous. Again, have not worked in it. I need to stop flicking these books. This video is already long enough without me sitting here and flipping books. I'm probably still going to flip books. Right. And yeah, Voyage was accidentally on my list as Wild Summer. So I had 2 Wild Summers on my list. I was like, But, you know, I go through my spreadsheet. I've taken away locations for every book. And as I pull them off the shelf, I am going into my spreadsheet, putting in the new locations, and that allows me to triple check everything on my spreadsheet. So I check that all the titles are here at first. So I did all that, and that's how I found that I had not recorded Voyage. I recorded it as Wild Summer twice. Yeah. Things we'll find as we clean up the spreadsheet. But yes, this is Wild Summer, which is also a gorgeous book. I have done 1 page in. This one's really cool. Lots of bright summary pages. Again, I really love this one. I think it's such a neat book. And I have this one here. Once again, I really need to do the borders. So for this one, I used water-based markers to colour in the page. And then I used this really awful, cheap, it's basically sheer acrylic white paint. This is several layers of this very sheer white paint. And use that to do the light rays, and then use paint pen to go over the lines that were there. But because it's so sheer, it keeps a lot of the colour there, but it also, because these are water-based markers, did pick up a little bit and streak it, so it creates like a little fog around it, which is cool. But also I really need to go in here and like block off these edges to clean it up. But yeah, all water-based markers, a little bit of acrylic paint. And I really like it. I mean, it's jellyfish. Of course I like it. But yeah, I really like it. It's cool. And yeah, surprisingly not too much bleed through for being entirely water-based markers. So that's Wild Summer. And then the last Joseph Catimbang we have is the companion, Wild Winter. I really hope we get Wild Spring and Wild Autumn. That would be cool to have all 4 seasons. And I have a one done in here. This one still has hidden objects. It's one of the last hidden objects for Joseph Catimbang, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But the hidden objects are a lot less now by the time we get to this point, and they are very appropriate to the page. So yeah, it's a lot less hidden objects in this one than other books. Oh yeah, I've done this one. Forgot I'd done this one. So we have our little deer in the lamp. I remember I wanted to have it like really warm and tropical in here, and then very icy and cold on the outside. So once again, ink tints for base, polychromos for shading, Posca paint pens. There's Mod Podge Extreme glitter all over the background, and there's some metallic gel pens for the snowflakes as well. So the snowflakes are very similar in colour to the background, which is quite cool. They kind of like appear and disappear, almost like they're translucent. Yeah, I do really like that one. I'd forgotten I'd done that one in here. Been a while. I just love that. I also really like that. Just don't mark the light ring. Let me decide. Otherwise I have to use my paint pens. Okay, so that's Wild Winter, and that's the last Joseph Catimbang. So I have just a few more mythographics. And the last illustrator we have is Rua Kolinska, who is a newer illustrator in the series, and I have 4 of her books. As I said, apart from some that released in 2025, I'm pretty confident I've got all of them now. And I think I am missing possibly one of Rwonka's that released. I know I'm missing, I think Wolf Moon released. I know there's so many of them now. It's hard to keep track, but yeah. So, Crystal Kingdom. We have done 1 in here. And so Rwonka is really neat. She has a very bold graphic style. It's a lot less, there's still a lot of movement and flowiness, but there's a lot more like rigidity, which allows a lot more impact with how she does her pages. Yeah, she has, it's hard to describe, but it's just a lot more bold. Like the lines are thicker. There's a lot more, just a lot more like pow, and it's more static. But I appreciate it's more static. It's also more graphic. So yeah, I like it a lot. I think she's really neat as an illustrator. So I've done this one here. I remember I did this one in bed because I wasn't feeling very well. So I just took ink tints to bed and did the entire thing with my ink tints pencils. And then when I felt a bit better, I got up, grabbed a couple of paint pens to remove a few details, and grabbed some Mod Podge Extreme glitter for the gems. But yeah, that one was pretty straightforward, just in bed, working away. Took a paintbrush, was pulling colour off the paintbrushes and using that to help shade. Entirely in ink tints. Very odd colours. I don't know what I was thinking about the colours at the time, but hey, that's what I felt. Sometimes you just gotta go with the flow. So yeah, I need to do some more in here. It's a perfect book for playing around with learning to colour crystals, so I should use it and colour some crystals and practice doing like multiple colours in a crystal. Also these crystal jellyfish, and I've always wanted to colour that page because it's so pretty. So yeah, that's Crystal Kingdom by Rua Kolinska. Running out of room up here. So many books everywhere. And then we have Mythical Beasts, which, is this my favourite? I know, it is pretty cool. I do really like this one. Just, yeah, you can see a lot more of the graphicness of her work in this one. Just very, very cool. But I have done one in here. It's not my favorite page in here, I will be honest. I think when I was doing this one, I was rushing it just to get a page done because this was an unworked book, which is a bit of a shame and something I'm trying to not do so much now. So I used, I want to say Liquitex ink. It might be Inktense pencils though. In the background, there's definitely a little bit of salt effect in there. Could also be watercolor. And then Inktense for shading around here. And a bit of paint pen to remove the hair, and some stickles for all the markings. Gold metallic pen. Just some black glitter pens to colour in the spiders. Again, I do like it. It's not a bad page, but it's not my favourite thing I've ever coloured. I can definitely do better. I know I was rushing this page when I did it because I was just doing it to get a page done in here. So I do want to get in here and show this book some actual love. I love that one so much. Yeah. I need to show some actual love to this book and actually take my time on a page, and yeah, absolutely gorgeous. That's Mythical Beasts. Then we have Rainbow Realms, which I am so excited to have this one. I love, love, love the idea of a rainbow book. I can see so many rainbows. I have not coloured in here yet, but it's so cool. And yeah, definitely. I've pulled it out a couple of times as well. Keep meaning to, because of course it's like a rainbow themed book. I want to colour in here. It's my cup of tea. It's rainbows. It's dazzling worlds as well, which is really cool. Yeah. But a lot of rainbows in this book. So yeah, need to get in here eventually. It is stunning. Just haven't made it yet. And then we have Romantasy, which I think this one might be my favourite of hers. It's so cute. It's so good. And the Romantasy theme, like a lot of publications. A lot of them did Romantasy themed books this year, but I do like it. Yeah. Look at that. Love, love, love. Yeah. Absolutely love it. Do need to, of course, do some more. But I have done one in here, which I need to border up. I remember just getting really in the mood one day to do this one, and I just did it. So this one actually uses water-based markers as watercolor, and I was really trying to just work with the water-based markers as watercolor and play around with water-based markers. Now, looking at this, I needed to go in with paint pens and do some highlights. Like all these water ripples, I should go over that. I should go over this horizon line. I think if I lightened up a few lines in here, it would make it pop that much more. If I did like a couple highlights on the leaves. Basically, I managed to get a few darks in there, but I'm missing the lights. And because I coloured over everything, I need to add those back in. Like there's a little bit of highlights in some of the creature, but yeah, that's what it's missing. So it needs me to go in and add paint pen highlight. But this is things I've learned on reflection. And I've also covered a lot of the page with Mod Podge Extreme glitter. So we ain't doing it now. But yeah, at the time, I remember being really pleased with what I managed to do with the markers in terms of shading the page and getting sort of like textures in and building up tones. Like I was pretty pleased with what I did at the time. So yeah. I do also really like the splotchy background. It's cute. It's a cute page. It'll be a lot better again once I border it as well. It's kind of the theme of all of this, isn't it? Border the page. But yeah, that is the last of the Rua Kolinska. And then I have one more mythographic to show you. And that is the Artist Vault. And I am so, so happy that this is in my collection. I was blessed by a wonderful dear friend of mine, Smalt, who sent me over a copy of the Mythographic Artist Vault as soon as it was released from the States. I am so, so grateful for that because, of course, in Aotearoa there would be no way for me to access it, and, of course, it went nuts. Everyone was trying to get their hands on it. They only released it in the States at Walmart, and I know a lot of people were trying to pick it up for other people to ship overseas because of the fact it was only released at Walmart. And it was so popular that now they're going to do another one this year. And I'm like, damn it, don't do Walmart only copies of Mythographic. Because I can't shop Walmart. I cannot shop Walmart. So hopefully I have some amazing American friends who will help me out again. Because you've seen my Mythographic collection. Do I technically need it? No, because I have all the other Mythographics in my collection. And it's a compilation book. But my collection, it's the completionist in me. It's gonna feel incomplete if I don't have the next one of the hardcover compilation books, because I have all the other Mythographics. So yeah, it's just rude. It's just rude, Mythographic. Release it internationally. Like, if you want to make it Walmart exclusive in the States, fine, but find a Walmart equivalent everywhere else. Like in Aotearoa, approach the warehouse. That's kind of like our Walmart or Kmart, or go to some of the independent actual art stores and bookstores, which would be even better. But if you want to make it Walmart exclusive in the States, fine. Just make it so we can get it overseas without having to bother our American friends and go, please hunt this down for me. Because that's just rude. Or going to eBay and paying a fortune for somebody else to ship it for us. So, and to anyone who went hunting for somebody else, thank you. Thank you for doing the hard work for us, because I remember when this came out and the chaos surrounding it. So, yeah. But, oh my god, it's gorgeous. This truly is the most beautiful Mythographic. Like, the gilded edges, the black and purple, the metallic rainbows, I just love it so much. So, of course, this is a compilation book. It has Attanasio, Catimbang, and Fusi's work. So this one lives at the end of the shelf. Technically, it should be at the start for assorted artists, but I put it at the end because it feels better at the end. And so, yeah, it does list who does each page, but it is a mixture of previously seen work, plus there are a couple of unreleased pages in here. This is all Hidden Objects era pages as well. So, yeah, so that, again, is our robot girl. So I can do her again. I'm looking forward to that challenge one day. But yeah, I think I've done 3 in here according to the list. My phone has gone to sleep, of course, because I've been rambling about my frustrations about Walmart only releases. Alright. This one goes in a weird place on my list because of the fact it's technically under assorted artists. 2. I should have 2 pages done in here. So I know there's one near the start because there's a tiger. Yeah, there's a tiger. This one here. This was in my painting era. I got very into painting pages for a while there. So the background is all acrylic paints. I painted all those clouds in, and then I believe I used alcohol marker and a lot of alcohol marker for the pink. I put down layers of this really, really bright neon pink, and then pulled out different pinks and purples and would dot it in and then go back over it with the pink to help bleed it out a little bit. So it's kind of like a bokeh effect with alcohol markers. So yeah, that was how I did that background. I also based all the dots with the alcohol marker, but then I went over it with paint pen because I was like, no, I'm going to lighten that up to match the spots in here. And then added in some extra paint pen dots as well to kind of make that pink work. So I did the lighter pink and had that merging into our white tiger. And I knew as soon as I saw this page, I wanted dark clouds and a white tiger and then pink. I was like, I knew that pretty instantly. So did that. And a little bit of alcohol marker to shade on here. All the shading of the books and the tiger is done in alcohol marker with the exception of the pink. I pulled out the pink Prismacolor, like the fluoro pink Prismacolor, and used that to do all this pink glow effect as well. And then there is a Liquitex gold ink on here with a little bit of Posca to do all the highlights for the frame. And yeah, once again, do need to border it, although if I did border it in black, we may lose some of the background, so maybe I need to actually do a coloured border here or clean it up so it's just a white border. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Maybe I should do it blue to bring out the blue of his eyes. That could be quite nice. Do a blue border. Anyway, yeah. Oh, and stickles. These stickles. As you might have gathered. I love this page. I think this one's really cool. It's a Fabiana Attanasio one. And then I've done this one, which is a Joseph Catimbang one. And so this one I used iridescent watercolour in the background. A couple of different colours, which I bled together. And then I did Inktense for shading in the whole thing, and there's Liquitex Gold for the elements on the page as well. And I remember when I did this, I was really trying to challenge myself to create dimension with the horse, even though it is a lot of the same tones, to still try and give it a bit of 3D effect. And I was really proud of how much, like, you can see the horse in the water, because it looked very flat initially once I had done all this water because of the fact it's all blue. So just a simple pulling out a little bit of shading around here and creating some depth in the water really helped. So yeah, it's chaotic, but I do like this page. It's a lot of fun. And I think that's everything I've done in here so far. It is, so yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Love, love, love my mythographic collection, and thank you again so much to, I've had quite a few gifts of mythographics, so thank you to the gifters, and yeah, brought quite a few of them myself because I do love mythographic. But now I'm going to put a pile away. I didn't have to update any totals in this section, which is great. I just had to update a title, and now we'll move on to the next shelf. Okay, we are back with shelf C1, which means nothing to all of y'all, but it's a shelf next to my mythographic, and I feel like it's like the top A1, B1, C1, the top shelves in the 3 rows. It's like Kirby, Joanna, a few nature ones like Paula Brune, and then Millie Mariotta, and then it's mythographic, and then over here it's like nature but more fantastical. They're all square books anyway. The whole 3 shelves are square books. So this is all square books except for a couple at the end which fit in here, and I kind of feel like the more naturey, fantastical, you'll see as we go through them. I feel like these kind of all go together. So some of this shelf is in alphabetical order, some of it is not. But we'll start off with Alessandra Fusi. So this is the Alessandra Fusi I have that is not a mythographic or a mythogoria. And this is Fantastical Worlds. And oh my gosh, this book is fabulous. If you like double page spreads, this book is for you, because this book is all double page spreads. Like every single page is a double. So as someone who loves doubles, this book is just mind-boggling. And again, you can see the beautiful portraiture work here. Like, this is a stunning book. Absolutely stunning. I'm so grateful to have it in my collection. And I have done 2 pages in here because of the double. I've done 1 spread in here, which is this one here. And I was really surprised that I started with this one because, of course, flowers, which usually isn't my thing, but I just had a vision for this page and I just picked away at it and I really enjoyed it. So these Inktense for the background and all the basing, then polychromos on top for all the shading. I have used a little bit of super golden markers to like outline in here, outline the wings and all the feathers and stuff like that. Have a little bit of, I think, a metallic brush pen. I don't think that's super gold. I think that's another metallic brush pen. There's some iridescent watercolor on the bee wings. Give them a little bit of shimmer. And then in the actual background, these little gold splushy bits. That's done with the Gansai Tumby Starry Night palette. So I mixed a bunch of the different golds in there to create different tones. I realise I might need to turn my light on. And you can see just some of the reflex in there. The glittery reflex, that is Stickles Glitter Gel, because it's got the stars in it. And I just kind of dabbled that in place, and then I did dab on top in some areas with Mod Podge Extreme Glitter as well. So yeah, a lot of media thrown at this page, but I really like it. I think it's really cool. So yeah, spreadsheet is correct with that one. We only have the 2. I am pulling the spreadsheet up on the computer this time because we're bouncing all over the place. Right, next on the shelf is Chameleia de Eero, and I have 4 of her books. So first up should actually be Catitude. So I didn't put these ones back in order. Interesting. Good to know. Right, Catitude. This one is a newer book to my collection, but I mean, it's cats. It's gorgeous. I definitely want to get in here and show it some more love. I've only done the 1 page in here, and again, I feel like I did do this page a little bit in just need to get a page done because it's a new book. But I still like it, don't get me wrong. I think it's really cool. But like, I could do better. I could do more. And maybe I'll come back in and do a little bit more to it, especially if I work the other side as well. So the background is Gansai Tambi. Could you bleed through? Do I have a bit of cleanup? No, that's pretty surprising. Gansai Tambi for the background. And then I remember, I think I used water-based markers as watercolor and was playing around with using them to color in the page. And it is really cute. I really like how it looks, but I think it needs a little bit of shading and pencil work. And then I did use a white paint pen to outline and put some eye shinies. And the cat is trying to get on the desk, which he can't be on the desk because I have my breakfast on the desk and he's going to try to eat it. No, no, no. You've still got treats on the ground from before because I poured so many treats out, so you're fine. So yeah, that is my page in Catitude. So just the 1 in Catitude. Go, look, your treats are over there. Oh my goodness. Okay, missed it. Look, over here. What's this? You still have more treats. I think he wants attention, not treats. I really pulled out way too many treats this morning, so he's been nibbling on them all day. Right, we have Cute and Creepy. This is my first ever Chameleia de Eero. It is a very old book. You can see it's a bit dirty on the front cover here. I have done 13 in here, and this was one back when I was studying in like 2020, 2021, 2022. I'd have to spend ages, you know, writing essays and stuff like that. So I used to, you know, spend my 6 hours or so writing my essays, stop, come in here, do a page, and then go back to study. So yeah, this was like my go-to sort of quick and easy throw media at the page book. Ow, no, you're not clawing your way up here, Shadow. So I have these 2 pages here. This was done in Albert Jurors. And then there is shimmer spray in the background and Posca paint pens. And this one again is Albert Jurors with a little bit of a very cheap gold glitter glue on the bowels. This is all transfer from this page from before I had one of these in place because my navy blue shimmer spray likes to transfer everywhere. Oh my god, this cat is determined. No, you are not having any of my salami. He's determined. It's spicy salami too, so he's not going to want it either. He'll take one bite of it and go, this isn't actually what I want. He's found the treats. Hopefully that'll keep him contained. Hey, right, this one. This one I had so many plans and ideas for, and then it just didn't happen, but I do like where I got it to. So I used Dew and Inktense to colour in this one, and it's just playing around with different colourways. This was done the same time I did the Mythographic Deep Blue, so I was playing with that yellow and that blue lighting effect, at the time. So this is why she's got yellow and blue in her pink here, which I really like the color combo of. I then also chose to highlight everything in paint, like a pink paint pen. I don't know what I was thinking there, but I know I wanted to make it stand out, and I didn't really want to use white. And originally in the background, I had done some gel crayons, but they were really, really patchy, and I hated them. So I pulled out an acrylic paint, and I went on top with the acrylic paint, which was also super patchy and horrible and like a very cheap paint. And I was like, gosh. So I pulled out a shimmer topper and went over that with a third coat with the shimmer topper, which has had some of the patchiness, but you can still kind of see, and it's kind of textured. But at that point, I was like, it's fine. I've done 3 coats in the background. I'm not doing another coat in the background. And that's when I used the pink pen to outline it. But it's kind of funky. Like, I dig the different colours. It's odd, but I like it. And this has to stay in here because this stuff will stick to itself. So that lives in there. And we have this one here. This is definitely an older one. So this one uses Prismacolor for colouring the little creatures. And then all this like glittery background item is, they are Crayola glitter markers. They're from the like the Supreme, the Artist quality. I do that because they were really shy, most of the products in the range. But they had like these shaker pens with like loose liquid glitter, and it was like a glitter pen that you could use. So I used that to colour in all the background elements. And on here, it's not particularly glittery. It's slightly shimmery, slightly metallic. I have much better things I would use now, but this, again, this is a very old one. So that's what I used at the time. And it's still like super cute. I do like it. Yeah, for the time, very, very cute. I love my little creature here. He's cool. And again, I do unfortunately have a little bit of transfer from the face wing on this one, but it's just a little bit of shimmer on the side of the face, and it's really not noticeable. So that's fine. Little Miss Muppet and her spider. So this one I used, I think I used Indian ink because I had like some very old Indian ink from my high school days. I still have this ink. It's lasted me years and years and years, but I just watered some of that down and put that down, and then used a black shimmer spray and spritzed that everywhere. So my bee's got some cleanup on the side. That's fine. But yeah, spritz that all down. And then I used Dew and Inktense to colour my pink spider and Little Miss Muppet. I did go over her with Prismacolor to shade a bit of details, and then these Posca paint pens. And then all the spiderweb in the background, I started on this side and worked my way across, which is really dumb when I'm right-handed, so I should have done it this way, but for some reason I did it that way. And I had another Crayola marker, another, like one of their fancy markers, and it's like an outline marker, so it's meant to be that you draw a line down and the ink is meant to move on the outside, and you get a color on the outside and silver in the middle. So it was meant to be a black and silver one. So this is meant to, you might just slightly see it on the edges up here. You got a little fine black edge and then the silver in the middle. And it's like, oh, that's quite cool. Maybe that'll work to do the spider webs. I'll use it on here because I'm not ever going to use that marker for anything. So I started and I was like, okay, it's kind of cool. It's not really coming out strongly, but it's kind of cool. I can dig it. I can dig it. Working my way across. And then the marker starts running out. And it's like, oh boy. So by the end, we've just got black. It's like, cool. So yeah, I used up, and that was my first time using the marker, by the way. So, you know, there should have been more ink in this marker. I should have been able to do all that line work with this one marker. But yeah, brand new marker, started it there, and it was dead by over here. So yeah, that went in the bin afterwards. At least I used the product up. Yeah, so this book is a little messy because I did get quite messy in it, and I don't mind that. I feel like the sketchiness of the lines works well to get a bit messy, and it really helped me develop my love of playing with wet media, mixed media, sprays, and just having fun with a page. So this one again is Dew and Inktense, a little bit of polychromos for shading, a couple Posca dots for eye shinies, and then shimmer spray. And it's very simple but very effective, and I do freaking love it. Just a cute little dragon. And then we have the little ghosty. So I used some tempera paint sticks in the background. and smushed some colours together with them, and then spritzed on top with some shimmer sprays. And the octopus ghost has been done with a pearlescent paint. You can see the shimmer sprays really went everywhere on the ghost, and that's okay. And I think I did pull out like a black pencil just to define some of the eye areas, a little bit of paint pen. Yeah, really simple page, but I really like my shimmery ghost. And this one definitely lives in here because this red is another shimmer spray that likes to transfer like crazy, so that stays in there. And then we have Death, same idea. Can't remember if it was water soluble crayons or ink tints for the background. I have a feeling it's the crayons. And then it's definitely ink tints for our little ghosty, a little bit of polychromos shading, tiny amount of paint pen to bring out white in the eye shinies, and shimmer sprays. And this one features a couple of black dots of acrylic paint from this side. So this one, the shimmer spray, it's always this blue one. This blue is notorious for bleeding through really badly. So yeah, a bunch of that bled through into the background. So I painted out the background with black acrylic paint, and then where it did bleed through, I was like, oh, well, maybe whatever this creature is has that color blood, and it's just dirty bandages. So that's why her skin is green, because she's got like a greeny blue blood. And I just used distress inks, ink tints. Actually, I think this was Albert Dürer from memory. Albert Dürer's, a little bit of Posca paint pen. Really simple. I like that though. I think it's really fun, really striking. Yeah, they're really good pages just to go a bit loose and chaotic and just have fun with it. Throw things at the page. As you can see, I throw a lot of stuff at this book and I just have fun with it. I think this is like a super, super old video on the channel. Like, I coloured it well before I even came back to YouTube to do colouring videos. And I filmed it because I was, like, thinking about it at the time. So, yeah, I think, like, early 2022, maybe 2021, I did this one. And I filmed it, and then I didn't put it up until, like, 2023 when I actually started YouTube. Or came back to YouTube to do colouring content. Yeah, this one has got distress inks in the background, and then polychromos for shading here. Lots of shimmer sprays. There's also a gold gel pen that I've done, like, there's like little flowers in the background, so I did all those. I think there's also some white ink splattered on as well. Yeah, I think that's the last one in there, so that should be 13. 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Woohoo! Spreadsheet's correct. So that was cute and creepy. Then we have dragons and other magically mythical creatures, which is a very long title. I should have 5 in here to show you. Apparently I have no protection paper in here, so should do that. So I got this Galaxy Dragon. So I know the background is acrylic paint. And then there is some shimmer sprays on top of the acrylic paint to create sort of like a shimmery galaxy. The dragon itself is based with doing ink tints, and then I used a gold gel pen to go over all the markings. And there's actually little stuck on crystals in this one to make him almost like the galaxy. So yeah, I was just playing around with a galaxy dragon idea. I thought it was cool, and I was thinking this is like star sign. Yeah, I know, I like it, I dig it, I had fun with it, and it's like purple and gold and sparkly and crystals and good times. Again, I do some weird stuff in these books, but it's fun. You know, it's fun to just have books that you're like, oh, I'll just throw this at it, I'll throw this at it, I'll throw this at this. This one here, this one's so sweet. This one, the background is watercolor with gold shimmer spray, and then the butterflies are coloured with those Crayola glitter markers I talked about. I don't have them anymore, but they were awful. And the little Fae has been coloured with Prismacolor with a tiny little bit of Posca for the eyes. Yeah, she almost looks lineless. It's really cool. Yeah, I really like it. Really like her crazy long hair. It's pink and sparkly and sweet. And then we have Cthulhu, and I love Cthulhu. Still one of my favourites in here. Okay, sorry about that. My camera just decided to disconnect for some reason. I think it's overheating with how much recording I'm doing today. So yes, Cthulhu. Freaking love Cthulhu. Think he's from my add glitter bubbles to everything era. It's quite alright. So the background is water-soluble crayons and shimmer sprays and white acrylic ink. And then, as I said, I drew the bubbles on, so that is a Posca for the outline and then stickles in the middle. And I believe he was also coloured with water-soluble crayons with a little bit of polychromos for more shading and a tiny amount of Posca to bring out eye shinies. So yeah, I really like Cthulhu. And then we have these little ones, and this one is very, very sweet. Very clean compared to the rest of the book. So for this one, I used distress inks for the background. So just a couple colours of distress inks, and I spritzed some water on there to make the splatter. White Posca to go over all the little clouds, plus eye shinies, and just polychromos pencils for colouring in the dragon. Yeah, very cute, very sweet, very clean for me in these books. And that's it. So that should be 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yay! And then we have Pop Manga Mermaids. And I am planning to do a lot in here, Mermaid. I love this one. Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't got them back in here myself. I need to. And so I have 1 page in here. This was done during August, which was my biggest month ever of colouring. I did 101 pages, and I did a lot of pages in books I hadn't touched. And so a lot of them, I like a lot of them, but a lot of them definitely feel very quick. And this feels very quick. Again, I just think I need to go in here with a little bit more pencil, define out some shadows, and just darken a few things. And it would just add a little bit more. But I still really like it overall. So I know background is iridescent watercolor, and then this, I believe I used all watercolor for shading this. I think I used some water soluble crayons. I was trying out like some new water soluble media, and I wasn't very pleased with how it was working, so I didn't really push it too far. A little bit of Posca paint pen on there. But yeah, just coming in here with like some polychromos and just giving a quick layer of shading and just a little bit of detail. It wouldn't need much, but it would really add to the page, I reckon. Maybe if I do that one, like I could do that one and add a bit more to it, pull the colours across or something, because the reddy brown, green and blue and gold is quite an interesting palette. So could be quite fun to pull that across. So yeah, that is the one I have done in Pop Manga Mermaids and Other Sea Creatures. Right, the next on the list is Manga Mania by Christopher Hart. I only just recently realised it's called Manga Mania. I was just calling this book Manga. And it was like, oh wait, there's a whole second part to the title here. Yeah. So this is a very new addition to my collection. I got it in the month of December, and it is stunning. There is so much, like so many pages in here. There is 119 pages in here to colour per my calculation. So this is a chunky book. And I haven't got any completed pages in here, but I do have a whip in here. This is one of my few whips. I have 17 whips as of 2025, 16 of which were created in 2025, and then 1 that is an older one. So yeah, but this year there's no pressure on me to like, I have to complete whips. So if I work on something and then walk away and it becomes a whip, that's fine. My whips are going to explode this year, and I'm okay with that. I'm trying to train myself to colour for the enjoyment of colour, not colour just to tune out colouring, which sometimes I do need to do. But yeah, I'm trying to slow down a lot this year. So in the month of December, I managed to get this much done in it, and I wasn't forcing myself to rush to get more done just because I'd started it. It's cute. It's colourful enough that I think I could colour this any time of year, but come December, I'll probably pull it out again because it's really cute. I've got my colour palette here. So this has been based so far with Faber-Castell Albert Duras, and I've used a little bit of polychromos to shade in some of the skin, and that's about it. So yeah, still a lot of work to go. Also really love this one next to it. So that is Manga Mania. Right, the next one I have, this is by Cecily Mary Barker, who is a super old illustrator. I'm talking early 1900s. The book does actually say Frederick Warne, but that is who holds the right to Cecily Mary Barker's work. And if you've ever, I suggest you Google it, because yeah, her illustrations are 1923, 1926. Yeah, no, between 1923 and 1948 is when these illustrations were done. But as I said, the estate now belongs to somebody else, so they've licensed it to make a colouring book, and it's super cute. It's all fae and flowers. It does give you like what the actual flower names are, and you can look up illustrations of these, because these are all actual illustrations. They have you know, they have taken points and adjusted it, so this might be the original illustration and then they've taken elements and created the mandala. Like, you know, the actual illustration will be this with an actual garden behind it, and they've pulled those elements out to make the page. So they have played around. That's more accurate to the actual illustration. They have played around with certain elements to create some depth and difference in here, but it's still really cute, and it's really cool to look at the original artworks as well. So I've done this one here. I've obviously not followed the original artwork because Gansai Tambi granulating watercolors, I don't believe that existed in the 1920s. But yeah, so for this one I used Gansai Tambi in the background to do the background. It granulated so beautifully here. I love when it works like this and you just get this instant background. It's one color and you just put it down and it just does this magic. It's great. It's why I love it for backgrounds. And yeah, on this paper it just granulated beautifully and it didn't even bleed through. It's what we like. So yeah, Gansai Tambi, and then Prismacolor for colouring in the actual flowers and the little fae. A little bit of Mod Podge Extreme Glitter on the wings, because of course. And that's about it. Pretty simple, but very, very sweet. And yeah, I had a lot of fun colouring it, even though it's flowers. But it's a nice amount of flowers, you know? Plus it was real easy to look up a reference, so that made my brain happy, because it's got the name of it, the Inquisitive Iris Fairy, so I could also look up the name of the original artwork. And yeah, so that's the Flower Fairies colouring book. Really cool colouring book. Alright, the next three I have are all one illustrator, and that is Daria Song. I actually really like her work, and I almost pulled out one of her books in December and I didn't. I think I do want to try and get to these this year, because oh my gosh, they're really cool. Need to show them some more love. So all of these I believe were picked up secondhand, and I should have a double in Night Voyage. We're up to here. Yeah, 2 pages done, and there's 1 page that was completed by the previous owner of this book as well, because it's a secondhand book. Yeah, so that's the one that the previous owner completed. You can see they did that in 2020. And it's pretty cool. I do really like it. I wouldn't have used the fluoro gel pen on the pajamas, but I do love how colourful and bright it is, and I really like the background. I think they did a really cool job. Again, it's different vibes of how I would colour it, but it's really, really cool. I really like the fact that they've used water-based markers, and they've used the streakiness of the markers to create shadows on the skin. So yeah, they've done really cool work. They've used water-based markers, gel pens, and I think they used a pencil for the red of this, but the rest of it's water-based markers and gel pens. So yeah, really, really neat. I don't plan to do anything with that page. I don't count that page as a page to colour. It's done, and it's the previous owner's work, and it's beautiful to have it in here and acknowledge. This is the one that I've done. I just have to very carefully pull it apart. I loved how this spread turned out. This is just, I think this is fabulous. I had so much fun doing this as well. It was fiddly, but it was fun. So we're going to get a bunch of shininess, and I do apologise about that. It can't be helped too much. So the background has been done entirely with watercolours. There's a bunch of iridescent watercolours, and there's a bunch of shimmer sprays. So guess who has cleanup? It's fine. One of these days I will make a video where I specifically tackle cleaning up a bled through page, and I show you how I clean it up and why I'm never worried about if something bleeds through, because you can always work with it. It's fine. Yeah, so this is watercolors, shimmery watercolors and shimmer sprays in the background, and ink as well for some white splatter. And then I used, I think, Pablo's from memory. I feel like that's Pablo's to colour in here, which I kept pretty simple. And then for all the little birdies, all the origami, I pulled out my washi tapes. And I sat here and I laid a piece and then I cut a piece. And then I laid another piece and I cut a piece. And it took me a good while, I'm not going to lie. It was a labour of love. It was a labour of love. I had a lot of washies, so I didn't have to repeat a single washi tape. I used a different washi tape for every single little bird. But I love how it came together. It's so fun and colourful, and because it's all papers being washi tape, really, really fun. And so yeah, I spent ages cutting all that out. And then just to make sure that none of the washi tape lifted and I didn't lose any of it, I used Mod Podge Extreme Glitter and did a layer over everything, including the birds. So they're nice and sealed down. And yeah, I love. So I want to do more in that one. I keep meaning every December, although it doesn't have to be Christmas, it could be birthday. I do like that page a lot. So yeah, it's A Night Voyage by Daria Song. And then I have the Time Chamber, and I've done one page in here, which is this one here, which is quite a simple page, but I love how effective it is. So for this one, I once again collaged, which seems to be a theme in Daria Song. So it was very similar to this page where we had a blank empty frame. I think there was a star pattern in here from memory, but I was like meh about the star pattern. It's a star pattern that's been copy and pasted across multiple pages in these books, across multiple books as well. So yeah, it was just like a star pattern, and it was like meh. And so what I did was I went and photocopied the page, and then very carefully on my photocopy coloured it in with Pablo colour pencils. This is all just Pablo's, and a little bit of a ivory Posca to do some highlights, and I coloured her in as well, all Pablo's again. Then very, very carefully with my craft knife, cut this out. Obviously the big square sections was easy, but around her, super fiddly, because it's both her and her reflection. And then I found a image of a galaxy, like an alien place, and I printed that out. I got it printed at I don't have a printer, I went to the print shop to get it printed. And then my idea initially was to put gloss over the image, and I was also going to try and put gloss over her up, like on her reflection half, not on her actual half. But when I put the gloss on the printing, something about the printing, it just rejected the gloss and it bunched up all weird, and it went really weird. So you might be able to see some of the texture up here. Luckily it just kind of reads as stars and stuff on there. So instead I grabbed my good old Mod Podge glitter and just did a coat with Mod Podge glitter, and that solved the day. I did forget to put it over her reflection though, so yeah. But when I do this page, I'll fix that up, because I'm probably going to do the exact same thing over here. Take a photocopy, colour in the frame, and put a world in here. I don't know if I'll find like another pink purple world, or if I change my colours up. It might be nice to keep it cohesive and bring it across. And then maybe pull some of those colours up into our owl or something, or I'm not sure, but I do want to bring it across and do the same thing, because yeah, it was really cool and really effective, and also really simple. So one of these days I'll do it. But yeah, that's all I've done in the Time Chamber. And then we have the Time Garden. And again, this is these were all secondhand. I brought all 4 of these together secondhand. So this one has 2 pages that were completed by the previous owner. And then I have also done 2 pages in here. So I think that's my page towards the back. Uh-oh, that's feeling a bit sticky because there is no baking paper in there. Oh boy. This is why I love Mod Podge glitter. Love Mod Podge glitter. If it's going to sit on the shelf for a while and not be opened, it can stick together. So if you are using Mod Podge glitter, Mod Podge sparkle, please put a protection layer in there, especially if you're not going to open these books for a while. Same with acrylic paints, any regular Mod Podges, anything, any sort of shiny protection surface, glossy accents, anything like that. If the book's not going to be open for a while, they can cause pages to stick together. So put some protection sheets in there. I'm speaking from experience. Yeah. So this one, as you can see, massive double page spread full of glitter. This is actually a time lapse on the channel, I believe. Yeah. So I actually painted this all with acrylic paints. It had a, yeah, like that. It had a pattern like that on it, where it was just a little image and lots of stars, and that didn't inspire me to colour it. So instead I decided to paint over it. So I painted the whole thing with acrylics and created this galaxy in there, and I was really proud of how it was looking. I added in the paint, like the stars and stuff like that, and then I thought it would be really fun to add Mod Podge on top, just to add a bit more dimension. But I went really thick with the Mod Podge. And you can see here it's so thick it appears white in a lot of areas. So yeah, I would do a much thinner coat next time, but that's okay. It's still super glittery and super cool. A little bit of Prisma on her. Yeah, really fun page. And there's, as I showed you, another variant of it, so I could do another galaxy in here sometime. There's a lot of like, also that's the page that the previous owner did, and how gorgeous, how absolutely stunning is that page. Yeah, I think they've used distress inks in the background and some sort of, it could be polychromos, it could be some sort of like oil based pencil, but yeah, absolutely stunning. Beautiful color choices as well. A lot of work and a lot of love went into this page. So again, I'm not touching this page. I think it's stunning, and I am honoured to have it in my copy. But yeah, this book has a lot of like, this here would be perfect to just grab different colours, different scrapbooking cards, and replace the hearts with scrapbooking cards and just colour her and do like a watercolour background. There are a lot of detail pages, but there's a lot of pages where there's room to play with mixed media or do different approaches. Yeah, I quite like these Daria song books. There's a lot of fun patterns, fun empty areas. I don't think I'd ever colour that, but I like her there, so maybe I could work out my own idea or something, or you know, I feel like I'll probably approach these books with quite a bit of collage and stuff like that. Yeah, that is Daria song, and that was the Time Garden. I then have two Denise Clett books, and I love these books, but there is one that I think I will be forever hunting for, and that is Mermaids in Paradise. I found out about Denise Clett way too late, and unfortunately Mermaids in Paradise is no longer in publication. It's a very sought after colouring book, not as sought after as say Mouse Card, but it's definitely a well sought after book. And yeah, I love these two, don't get me wrong. I think they're really cool. She's got a goblin one. I think it's really cool. I really like the quality of them and stuff. I would love to have the Mermaids book. The Mermaids book is just phenomenal. So maybe one day we'll be lucky enough to find a copy. But yeah, the few times I've looked for it, she's been pretty expensive. So yeah, trying to get them shipped to New Zealand. But hey, it's okay. What I will do is I will just make sure I do all the mermaids in these books, which I think I have. I don't think there's any mermaids in this fairy book. So this is another one where you've got a lot of background room. So I think it's quite fun if you want to play with mixed media, have an excuse to add different things in. I know some people don't like the big empty white spaces. You can also just leave them white. You don't have to colour a background. But yeah, really interesting style for Denise Clett, and I think it's really cool work. I've only done one in here, which is this one, but there's a lot of different media that attracted this one. So the background is water-soluble crayons with paint pen and glitter on top. Created my own little galaxy, and then I used distress inks, ink tints to do down here because I wanted to pull different colours in from up here, and then a paint pen to go over the white lines. These are all coloured with Prismacolor, the flowers, a little bit of paint pens on all the edges. Prismacolor mainly for the Fae, stickles for the wings, and then her stack of blankets has been coloured entirely with glitter and metallic gel pens. So yeah, a lot of different media thrown at this page, and the paper handled it really well. Oh, and obviously alcohol markers too. Based it with alcohol markers. So just a bit of media. But yeah, I like it. I really do like it. We have February coming up, and I'm gonna probably pull this one out, I reckon, because she needs some love. And then the other Denise clip I have is Gnomes in the Neighborhood, and I know I've done a mermaid page in here, and we have that same problem that I talked about, so that's okay. It's just a little bit. Yeah, I think I've done all the mermaid because there's only the one. No, there's two mermaids. So I've got one more mermaid. Fishing one kind of relates. Yeah, there's that mermaid. And then I think there's like mermaids on here. So I've got those two mermaid pages left. And then I've done all the mermaids. And don't get me wrong, the gnomes are cute. The gnomes are cute. Again, I like the pages. I like how it looks. I always forget about this book at Christmas time, and I really should remember because there's a lot of wintry Christmassy pages in here, but that's okay. So yeah, I've done my merm, and I love my merm, and not just because of that ridiculous tail. So the background, we did distress ink, and then this is like a deco art super fine glitter with a little bit of Posca at the top for the top of the stars. I really like the background. And then I used ink tints to do the rock, and then water-based markers to colour in the merm and the plants, with some fine liners to do all the shading. And then there's like metallic gel pens and stuff for all like the details on the clothes and like little touches like your lips and that. And then this here is an entire tube, like a squeezy tube of a glitter paint that has like these holographic shimmery chunks in it. So this is actually like 3D. It's so thick on there. But I was like, you know what? Screw it. We're going for it. We're giving her the glitter tail. And I love that. It makes me so happy. And I specifically chose the palettes. Like it's very, very rainbow-esque, but the palettes are very much, he's in red, orange, yellow, and she's in blue, purple, pinks. Because I wanted them to be almost opposites. And he's like approaching her and going, "You're the most beautiful creature I've ever seen." And she's like, "Oh, you're sweet. But no. You're not my cup of tea." I don't know. That was a little story in my head. So yeah, I really like that page. It makes me happy. It makes me very, very happy. I had a lot of fun doing it. So yeah. So those are my two Denise Klett pages. Next up we have Lizzie Mary Cullen and the Magical series. So this one we're up to here. So for the first one I have is the Magical Christmas. Did actually work in this one in 2025, and this I've done 3 pages in. So I have the very first page I did in here, which of course I had to do first, the Kiwiana Christmas page. This is a Kiwi Christmas. I had to colour it. In fact, this is the whole reason I got the book, is that there is a Kiwi Christmas page in here. Yeah, the whole reason I got the book is for the Kiwi page. So yeah, I was told this by somebody. I feel like it was Cindy, Mindful Griff, on Instagram. I feel like Cindy and I were talking about the magical city and then the magical journey, and she mentioned there was a Kiwi Christmas page, and I was like, brought the book. That's all it took. But yeah, I love Lizzie Mary Cullen's work as well. I think it's really fun. So ink tints to colour everything. a little bit of like a water-based marker to do some of the black around the border. And there's some Mod Podge Extreme glitter on some of the creatures. I think I pulled out some Posca paint pens to do all the bubbles. And yeah, I just had a lot of fun with it. I love just using ink tints in these books. I think it's just works well with ink tints, which is exactly what I did here. This was a buddy with ALLJR, Amanda. We did this in November of this year. We were going to do more in December, but of course I kind of burnt myself out in December, so I didn't do any Lizzie Mary Cullen, and I'm sad because I was going to do so many of these in December, but that happens as well. At least I got one done in November. So yeah, ink tints to colour everything, Mod Podge Extreme Glitter, or Mod Podge Sparkle. I think I've run out of the Extreme Glitter at this point. I think it's Sparkle. And some paint pens to outline. There's also super golden markers for outlining elements of the sky. And I also use the Sakura glaze pens on the window and the North Pole sign, so they have a little bit of glossiness as well. So yeah, those are my 3 pages in A Magical Christmas. And then we have The Magical City. Now this one I actually brought secondhand because I wasn't sure if I would like Lizzie's work, so I just grabbed this one secondhand. I think I only paid like a few bucks for it, but it does have quite a few pages started by the previous owner. So yeah, I think it's got 4 pages started by the previous owner. So there will be a bit of cleanup. That one's not going to be hard to clean up. That one. And then there's one more that the previous owner has done. Somewhere in here. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is the one I have done. And so for this one, I definitely followed along the tutorial by Peta Hewitt on how to colour in the Magical City. Definitely followed the colour along tutorial there because, again, I did not know how to approach these books. So I did choose to follow a colour along. And I don't often do that, but I just really had no idea how to approach these books. And I'm so glad I did. It's such a brilliant follow along and a colour along. And if I remember, I'll try and link it down below. It's very old at this point, but it's brilliant and still absolutely valid. It uses the original 72 doing ink tints colours. I think in it, Peter does a whole bunch of like paint pen work, like dotting in here and adding some dots and stuff. I decided not to. I really like the look without it, but I did add in glitter because, you know me, I love my glitter. So I did add in a bit of glitter. But yeah, I really like how that turned out. It's really, really cool. And I learned some really cool color combos as well from those videos for the Dew and ink tints. So yeah, that was really cool to learn. So that's the one page I have done in this book, as well as all the random starter pages. And then we have the Magical Journey, and this was a purchase this year. Again, I needed this because there is a Kiwiana section in here. There is a section where she comes to New Zealand, so I was like, I need this book as well. But I didn't actually start with the Kiwiana section, which is really surprising for me. I started with this one. I'm trying to find where the name is, but maybe I coloured over the name. I don't know, Into the Outback. So this is the Australian one. But yeah, I really liked the spread and the birds, and I had an idea for it. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go for it. So I did. So ink tints again for colouring everything, and then super golden markers for our birds. So it's incredibly shiny and metallic. White paint pen to do a bunch of white dots, and some super golden markers for a couple of stars in the background. But also stickles, glitter gel, and it's a glitter gel because it's got the stars in it. So yeah, it's very bright and colourful and rainbow, and I like it. It was fun. So that's the page that I have done in The Magical Journey. Next up, we have Mel Pamini, Chatsapanagatu, and her gorgeous books. So first up, we have Circle of Life, and I have done one in here. I don't even remember. Oh, the jellyfish. Should have known. I was shocked. I've done the sea life creatures. I actually remember this one now. I did it entirely with fine liners and a little bit of a glitter gel pen. But yeah, it's all fine liners, which is a really good way to colour in her work actually, because there is quite a lot of small areas. So yeah, really bright, really colourful, and very fun. They didn't bleed through, surprisingly. Yeah, tiny amount of glitter gel pens, but majority fine liners. That's my page in Circle of Life. And then we have the latest one, Dream Voyage. There should be one done in here. I love that these are single-sided. That's alright. I have this chaos scene. So the background, it looks like maybe Inktense that I went over with water-based markers. I know the rest of this is water-based markers, so maybe I used water-based markers as a watercolor first and then went over it directly with the pens to deepen up some areas. But the majority of this has been colored just with water-based markers. There's a lot of different metallic gel pens in here, and then each of the Fae has 3 different types of glitter on them. So their wings are a glitter paint. It has like a colourful confetti glitter in them. Their bodies have been done with stickles for their dress, and their hair is a deco art super fine glitter. So yeah, I had a lot of fun doing my 3 little Fae with the different glitter types. Sorry, 4 little Fae, because there's a 4th one up there. Yeah, that's metallic gel pen. I probably used some Posca too to do all the stars and stuff. Yeah, there's a lot on this page. It's a lot. It's a lot, this page. But I also kind of dig it. Like, it's very trippy. But it's cool. And yeah, it's mostly done with water-based markers, which worked really well for colouring her work. I should do that again, because it's good size for colouring in with water-based markers. But that's my page in Dream Voyage. And then I have Enchanted Earth, and I have 2 done in here. So I have this one. I know this one I did when the book first came out. I did it as a buddy. And so for this one, I used distress inks in the background for the cloud stencil, and then based with alcohol markers and shaded on top with polychromos, and then all this sort of silver and gold. I actually had like some foil, and I used Mod Podge and stuck down drops of Mod Podge and then lay the foil on top, because it's like a gilding foil, and was trying that out. And in some sections it's worked really well, like on the fish there, but in a few sections you can see it's kind of worn away, and those are the sections where it was really tiny amounts, and it's very possible the glue dried before I even properly sealed down the silver foil. But it was fun, and it gives a really cool shimmer to the page. There's of course stickles on the wings. Yeah, really cool page. And then I've done one more in here, which I believe is the mermaid. There you are. Which is another water-based marker page. So entirely done with water-based markers and a little bit of a gold metallic gel pen. Really straightforward. Yeah, I would probably push the shading a little bit more if I was doing this now. Maybe use those markers as a base and work on top. But at the time, I was like, I'm happy enough with this. This is cool. Fulfilled my need that I needed at the time, and it's a very cohesive palette. So yeah, that was also a buddy colour. That was a buddy with Perfection, I believe. So yeah, that is Enchanted Earth. And then the last one I have by Mel Pamini is Nature Mandalas, and I have done 5 in here. This is a book I had with me during a full/hospital stay, so I did do a little bit in here because I had this in Alien Worlds. So I did a bunch of yellow in the Alien Worlds for the Cloud Kingdom palette, Kingdom pages, and I did a bunch of pages in here. So this, I used polychromos pencils, and I used a pink Posca to do all the little fishies. And I just worked in rainbow. You'll see it a lot. I just often worked in a rainbow palette. So yeah, I'm not usually a fan of mandalas, but I do really like this book. And rainbow mushrooms, yeah. So we got rainbow mushrooms, rainbow snails, black glitter, gel pen. Originally, I think I did that like gold, but it just got really lost with all the colours. So I went in and did that black, and that's really, like, it helps it pop a lot more. But does also, didn't exactly leave the book to dry properly, so, but it's fine. It hasn't bled through that side, so. My dragonfly, I remembered adding the glitter to this one later on. So underneath on the wings, I spent ages blending yellow, pink, and blue and doing this really pretty colorway on all the wings. And then I used a white Posca to go over all the lines. So it looked really like opalescent. They were really cool. Then I added the stickles, and of course the stickles are so thick that you miss most of the shading underneath. I remember being really bummed about that at the time, but that's okay. I know it's here. And it just looks super glittery. And then, yeah, polychromos and a little bit of pink pen. And then we have the animals. This one is like very muted compared to the rest of the rainbows. Couple of different pens for the background, like a fine one to do in here and then a wide one to do back here. Silver metallic gel pen and Posca pink pen and polychromos pencils. I think. Oh, no, one more. That's right, the absolute rainbow fiesta. I think this one would look really good if I spent the time to colour in the background navy blue. I think it would just pop oh so much more, but I cannot be bothered doing that. I'm not going to sit there and paint in that background. Too fiddly, too much work. But it would pop on a dark background even more. Would look phenomenal. I mean, it still looks great. I love it. It's rainbows. I'm very pleased with it. But yeah, that on a dark background would just be amazing. Yeah, that should be it. I think that was all 5. 1. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. And then I have one more of the square books before we've got a couple of odd books, and it is Underwater Worlds by Renata Krawczyk. Probably butchering that. But yeah, this is, again, underwater. It's a really cool, funky style. Really neat. Really fun to colour. And I did this page here. And this was actually done with the Castle Arts Harmonious palette, which I received at the same time. So I was playing around with the colours in it. And then I used some iridescent brush markers. Just a few little details on the page. But yeah, really, really fun to do. Again, just very simple. It probably should have a little bit of blue in the background or something in the background, but also it wasn't about that. It was about trying out the new medium, the new book, and yeah, I was just so happy. I love my little happy octopus. He's so cute. Yeah, really cute style book. Really fun. Another great one to get into. And there's the artist, Polish artist. So yeah, really, really cool book there. Right, and then the rest of the C1 shelf is got some more, I call these the odd books. There's a couple of Pictorias and these ones here, and then Vertical Worlds, and then Leela Julie's Walk in the Woods. And we'll talk about this one first because this one isn't actually in my colouring tracker. This book is not technically in my collection. It lives on the shelf because it's a nice safe space to keep this ginormous book protected. And that is because this book is being unhauled, but I actually have somebody to directly give this to. So I'm just waiting to organise the parcel to send to this person. So yeah, it's the same as my Mythogoria double up. There, I have somebody in mind to give it to. I just have to get it to them. So it just lives on the shelf to keep it safe. So yeah, this does have a very old whip in here. And I did try to come back to this book multiple times, but I never ever did. And the person it's going to, I think, is going to do a beautiful job in here. But yeah, I love the animal pages, but the 3 or 4 pages that I love and I would color in here are not worth me keeping this entire book, and all the pages I won't color. Gorgeous paper, gorgeous illustration. It's just not for me, and I just, yeah. So I'm accepting I am not someone who will color Little Julie and passing that on eventually. What I will color though are these books. So the first one is a Pictoria. This is Monster Party. This was the very last book I got in 2025, so I can tell you right now this is completely uncolored. But the great thing about Pictoria books is they're only technically 8 pages. They're very small books to finish because they're not traditional books. They're full on continual panels of images. And this book are real monsters. This is what it reminds me of. I don't actually know if this is the illustrator who did Are Real Monsters, but I definitely get the vibe of that series. So yeah, it's really neat. It's really funky, and of course it's one continual image that carries all the way through. And there's some more different titles. I would love to get the Enchanted Forest. There's a lot more than just these titles, but that's just some of the titles. These are very old. This is from 2014. And then on the... I'm just having a quick... I don't see anything about Are Real Monsters in there. And then on the back, they have information about it. So this is the Monster Unit Research and Policy. MRFs. So yeah, it's got a little bit more on the background, like activities and stuff you can do. You can also technically remove these from the folder. That makes it easier for you. But yeah, they're very, very cool. So that is Monster Party. I haven't started that one. Again, very new book in my collection. But a Pictoria I have started that is also significantly bigger than the other Pictoria, so that's quite interesting, is Laurie Hastings' Cats. And you can see my little colour tracker, and I've got some notes there about how I'm approaching different breeds of cats. And so I have done the first panel, plus a little bit of overflow over here. I've just used Dew and Inktense. Now I might come in and add fur texture to the cats. That's the one thing. Same with like maybe some Posca paint pens and stuff like that. But a lot of that stuff I feel like I might want to wait till I've done the whole thing and then reflect on. So yeah, I just want to come in and try and do some more of the Inktense work and just carry on. So I have got like my actual palette that I've used so far, and I'm going to try and keep it consistent. Because I love this Pictoria. I think this is so cool. It is literally just cats in the garden. There's lots of cats doing lots of different things, like catching a mouse, drinking from the fountain. These little kitties as well, jumping, sleeping, chasing butterflies, stretching, sneaking all around. Yeah, and then on the back here it's got information about it, and then it's actually got an index about the cat. So it has labeled what some of the cat breeds are, but it hasn't labeled every single cat. So that's really cool that it's all there. That will make it a bit easier so I can Google pictures basically. But yeah, this is a Pictoria. This one is from 2016. So another older Pictoria, Laurie Hastings. I know I shared this in one of my groups a little while ago, I think when I started it, and a person looked up to see if they could get it, and they found it for like $1. So there might still be some out there. But yeah, I really like these Pictorias. I'd like to get a bunch more of them. I think they're really neat, and the paper of them is fantastic. And then in the same lines as the Pictorias, I have To the Ends of the Earth and Back Again, and then To the Ocean Deep, which is really, really cool. Again, continual image colouring books. These ones, they're impossible to show on camera because they're huge. I haven't started in either of them. I had a thing, like I started in cats and I was like, I'm going to finish cats first before I do these ones. And then I did that one page in cats and I just didn't make my way back. So I just need to like stop putting that pressure on myself and be like, if I get inspired to work in it, I get inspired to work in it. I would love to get into the ocean deep because again, ocean creatures. All the background's also done for you as well, so you don't have to worry about the background. It's got an actual gradient in it, so you're just colouring in the items, which is really, really cool. And they do have on the back here the full layout. When this one came in, I actually had one of my nibblings around and they were absolutely fascinated by how big this page is and made me measure them against it, and of course they're tiny, so yeah. But yeah, I'd love to get some work done in both of those. And then the final one that lives on this shelf is Vertical Worlds, which I feel like fits into the Fantasy Worlds section, but also this is a really large book, so it has to sit on my shelf like that way instead of like standing upright or flat. It has to go in this way, but it's pretty close in size to the Ocean Deep coloring book. Like, it's not too badly off size, so it just kind of lives with it, even though it's by R.B. Darker, which would technically put it at the start. It lives with those books at the end just because of the size. And this is again a really neat, very detailed book. Each page is its own little scene and all layers upon layers upon layers, lots of little fine details. I've always really loved that zoo one. But I've done one in here, which is a vertical aquarium. So I used this is going to be really hard to show on camera because it's too big to get fully on. I used a really cheap and nasty gouache in the background here just to block that off. Yeah, that's fine. And then I used distress ink in here for all the water. And I did like spritz and do a little bit of spritzing, but it's not as speckled as I normally do. And then I use water-based markers and paint pens to colour, and fine liners to colour in all these little details, because again there's so many little details. And I did actually draw a couple of mermaids in here, but I drew them so subtly that it's really hard to see them now. I believe this is one in here because while the mermaid has completely disappeared, her outline is there because I used a water-based marker, and I guess in time it sunk down and pushed away the distress ink of the background. So the actual mermaid's gone, but the little shape of the mermaid is hidden in there, which I kind of like. And I believe this one, this dot here, is the other ghost. They were really tiny mermaids that I drew in. And I knew they were subtle to begin with, but yeah, they've basically disappeared, which is funky, but I don't know, I kind of dig that. I think it's cool. So yeah, that is the one page I have done in Vertical Worlds, and that is all of the C1 shelf. Woohoo! Okay, and so now we are up to C3. Shelves are named so inventively, but this is where I keep the rest of my square books, and these are sort of my fandom books, so lots of nerdy fandoms, movies, TV shows, games, lots of D&D. But yeah, so we'll start off with this shelf is also not in any form of alphabetical order. It's organized by series because yeah, you'll see the shelf's chaos. So we have the Game of Thrones coloring book, and this is the HBO version. This one is right at the end because it's ginormous, so barely fits on the shelf. And oh, this is going to be fun. Spreadsheet's going to have stuff all over the place. There is this one. I should have two in here. I know I did one semi-recently in here, which is Sansa. Oh no, but Sansa was done in the other. We'll see. We have these two. This is the two that I've done in here, which is probably going to be a little bit off screen. This is the map of Westeros page, and I used my Liquitex clear acrylic gesso and a bunch of inks and shimmer sprays to give it like this real map-like texture. And that's all I did. I didn't do any shading or anything. Maybe one day I'll come in here and use a little bit of watered down ink and just darken around to give a bit of dimension to this. But I really just wanted to make this look like an old map, and it's really cool. I like it. And I did use some washi tape around the edges just to sort of clean up the edges. I don't think the washi tape particularly goes too well with it, so maybe one day I'll take that off. It's just washi, it's easy. But yeah, I was happy with it at the time. Yeah, that's all I've done in the HBO Game of Thrones colouring book. Maybe one day I'll do some more in here. And then the other Game of Thrones colouring book is what I call the George R.R. Martin version. So this is based on the books as opposed to the TV show. And this one is a mixture of a lot of different artists. John Howe is fabulous. You'll see there's quite a bit. I have quite a bit of his work across several books, so he does a lot. And this has got Thomas La Tomic, who has some really gorgeous colouring books as well. And Yvonne Gilbert's also in quite a few of my different books as well. So yeah, it's quite cool when you start to see these authors and illustrators across several books. So I should have one done in here, which will be the Sansa one that I was thinking of at the other book. But it's actually in here. I love this page. I love it so, so much. I remember being so pleased when it was done. So I actually used Dew and Inktense to colour everything. And there's a little bit of a yellow pencil just to do the highlights across here. But the majority of it all done in Dew and Inktense. And then there's Liquitex white acrylic ink to do all the snow. Tiny little bit of stickles on the moon because I had to. And yeah, I remember when I was finished, I was like, because these like embroidery patterns on the clothes, I was like, maybe I need to do that, like pull out a gold pen or something. And I was like, no, I'm just gonna leave it. I like it just as a subtle background pattern. Like, I don't have to block out those patterns. I'm really glad I didn't because I really like it as is. I think it's really cool. So yeah, that is Sansa and a lady in the Game of Thrones colouring book. And then from the Game of Thrones, we move into Tolkien, aka Lord of the Rings, and The Hobbit. And so I have 3 books in the Lord of the Rings Tolkien series. So the first one I have is the Hobbit colouring book. This one is unworked and has been unworked for quite a while, so I will get here one day. When I ordered this book, I actually thought it was similar to this one. I thought there was this one and there's a Lord of the Rings version. It has a purple cover. And I thought the Lord of the Rings version was a reprint of this one because this is a very old book. And I was like excited that they were going to reprint this one because I've been hunting for this one for years and hadn't been able to find it. So I was like excited to get that, but I was able to get The Hobbit first because of weird New Zealand releases. And then this came in and I went, oh, this isn't it. It's cute, don't get me wrong. I do like a lot of the illustrations. It's obviously much smaller. So it's a very small book, but then the illustrations, there's not a lot of scenes in here. As you can see, a lot of them are just a character, just a drawing of the character with no background, which can be fun. Like I can add in my own background, but I thought it was actual scenes from the movie. So when this came in, I was really disappointed, because it's not, you know, as many scenes. It's just a lot of just the playing character, which don't get me wrong, I like the character, but I want detail and background scenery, and you know, I want to color in the Hobbit movie. So yeah, so I haven't actually colored in it yet because of that. I do want to get there eventually. We'll see. I'm based in New Zealand. Like, I had to have some Lord of the Rings stuff. So this is the book that I actually wanted and have been hunting for a long time. So when I got this one, I was so excited. I found it for $3 on Marketplace. So yeah, it was this and another book that I immediately dropped off at the op shop because I didn't want it. I was just so excited to find this book. And it was completely unworked when I got it. And I have done 1 double page spread in it. So this was first published in 2016. So it is an older one. And you can see here what I'm meaning about the scenes. Like, that's what I thought. Now, there's still character pages because there are a couple of these quote pages. So that's where they're getting some of the character illustrations from. But it's not every page. There's a lot of scenes in here and snips from the movies. And that's what I wanted. There's still a lot of these characters, but you're also getting this. And that's what I thought the other book would be. So, yeah. But this is the page that I have done in here, the double page spread. I did this all with water-based markers and paint pens. Now I look at this and I'm like, it's nice, but it needs a little something more. It's very, if I was to turn this black and white, a lot of this would be very similar colors, like a lot of same, because it's very, the values need pushing in certain areas. But also, I remember when I did this, I was just so over green by the time I was done. So I was like, nah, we're calling it. I did pull the movie still to help me color in this scene. It didn't have all these flowers. I added that in because I wanted more color because I was sick of green as well. So yeah, but I think what I need to do is just take basically some of my paint pens and just like put some highlights in a few of these areas, and then I just need to deepen a few areas. It's again just pushing the values a bit more, and then I'll be happier with it. But it's still really cute. So yeah. And it's got a little bit of bleed through. I didn't care too much on this one. I mean, whatever. This one we did get a little bit, but it's again very workable. So yeah, that's the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy colouring book. And then the other one I have is the Epic World of Tolkien. This is another huge colouring book. There is 192 pages to colour in this one, so it's technically my biggest colouring book on the shelf. And I have 4 pages done in here. So I have this big double page spread, which is the Nazgul birds, and that was done with Gansai Tambi and then water-based markers and some paint pens, done with a group that I have, that I'm in, where we are, every once in a while we choose a page and work on this book. We haven't for a couple of months, and we do have one now, so I need to find the page and see if I get inspired by it. And then we have Aurum over here, the Huntsman of Valor. Again, Gansai Tambi in the background, and then Distress Inks, doing ink tints to colour it all in. And then there should be one more. Yeah, these two here, the Tree People of Lothlorien, which again is just another water-based markers page. Just a really simple one, but really cute. I just remember pulling out my markers one day and just in there and quickly colouring it in because it was all I wanted to do and it was perfect for it. So yeah, somewhere in here there is a Smeagol Golem page, and that is what we're working on in January, and I don't even know where it is in the book because again there's just so much in here. So this is actually a combination of Tolkien's World and a Bestiaria Tolkien as well. So yeah, big book, 192 pages to colour. So yeah, I'll find out what number it is. If it could be that one. Maybe it's that one. I thought it was more of a portrait one. I'll find it later. Not important. Anyway, Epic World of Tolkien. Right, and then from Fantasy Tolkien, we move into the D&D section. Like, I feel like it flows that way. So yeah, now we move into the D&D section, and that starts us off with our critical. We have a few, so we got our critical role, our actual D&D, and then the Dungeon Meister as well. So quite a few different ones. So we'll start off with critical role. So I have 3 critical role colouring books. I am missing one, which is another one of these square ones, which I need to get my hands on because I freaking love critical role. So we'll start with Vox Machina, their first colouring book for their first colouring series, and it's another collection of artists as well. It's really cute. I really like it. And so I have done the Keyfish page here. I had a few disasters going into this page, so I was very pleased to get it saved to the point that I got it saved to. I chose this page because it was simple and I thought it would be a good page to test mediums on, so I'm glad I did it. You can see some of the bleed through that accidentally happened here. Basically what happened was I put a glitter over all the water, which you can't even see at this point. Most of it's actually worn off because it was reacted so weirdly to the alcohol markers and made all that splotchiness happen. So yeah, but that was also very cheap glitter glue that I don't use anymore now. And yeah, the rest of it is like alcohol markers. There's a little bit of pencil shading, but I know when that happened, and you can see a bit of the spill from there, because once I put that glitter glue on it, it just spreads. So I've also got a little bit of blue in the center here to deal with in future, which it'll happen. And then I also have the grog in the outhouse page, which I love, love, love. These are quite a few. There's one particular animatic that I've watched a few times of this scene. And it's animated so well. It's such a funny scene. Travis Willingham did a great job with that. So yeah, fun scene and really fun to colour. Really fun to try and challenge myself to get lots of colour in there where most of it's brown. But yeah, I quite like it. I like all the different textures of the wood that I managed to get in there. And mostly that was done with alcohol markers. I didn't even pull out pencils for shading. I was really trying to push myself with just using alcohol markers and just shading with the markers. And then there's a little bit of paint pen for the fur as well. So yeah, those are the two that I have done in the Vox Machina colouring book. And then we have the Mighty Nine, which is my favourite Critical Role campaign. I love the Mighty Nine. I happened to join the live streams right as they started campaign 2. So I actually watched this one live. But yeah, I think part of it is the specialness because it was the campaign I joined in on. But it's also the characters because they're just... It's the characters. Yeah, I still go back to campaign 2 all the time. So I'm very excited to colour more in this one. So again, I have 2 done in here. I have one of my favourite pages from 2025, which is this page here. Now I need to show it at an angle because of the pencil glare, because it is full of pencil wax. But this is Jester and the Hag and the cupcake scene, which if you know, you know. And I went into this knowing that I wanted to create a really specific glow effect, and I'm really proud of how it came out. And this was actually a buddy with Erika of Elm Colours too. So I used water-based markers to base it, and then a mixture of Pablos, primarily Pablos, but there's a bit of Prisma and Polys to shade everything. And so many layers of black, so many layers. And then there's a little bit of stickles on the cupcake as well. Yeah, I really, really love how that one turned out. And then the other one I've done in here is Caduceus in his tea garden / graveyard. And so this one has been done all with water-based markers and fine liners. And then a little bit of Posca as well for some of the highlights and stuff like that. But yeah, all water-based markers and fine liners, which again I was also really proud of when I did it. I was like, this is really cool. I started off by using some Inktense pencils in the background, but this paper does not really respond well to water. It went really patchy and horrible, and I was like, oh, that's like, it's like it just immediately absorbs. It doesn't want to move the ink around, so it wasn't great. So I ended up using a water-based marker to go over it to try and cover up some of the patchiness, and just went from there. And it worked so well. So yeah, I still absolutely love that page as well. So that is the Mighty Nine colouring book and the 2 pages I've done in there. And then I have the Fern Calloway Fae Fantasy. I have 1 page done and 1 whip in here. Originally I was planning to do this as a I'm so glad that Happy Catastrophe is doing it, where I was going to colour a page on video and then have you guys choose the next page, because this is a choose your own adventure colouring book. But I started with page 0 off camera because I just wanted to be able to test the paper and test some mediums. And so I use water-based markers and Derwent Inktense to base different things. And then I use Prismacolor for all the shading and some metallic gel pens and paint pens and some glitter. And I was like, cool, that works. Came over here, started basing this one with water-based markers, and my footage just corrupted all over the place. And it kind of put me off coming back to it. I tried to do a little bit more work, so I have done a little bit of the Prisma on here, but yeah, because I lost that footage, I was just kind of gutted and I didn't want to come back and work on it. But then, luckily, Happy Catastrophe got this book and is doing that. So now you can watch her as she colours it and chooses the adventure along. I have only watched this episode because I have not flipped this book and I have not looked further beyond this because I wanted to be surprised to do it. So yeah, I do need to get in here and finish this whip so I can decide where to go. Yeah, I'm not going to necessarily follow the answers that Candice does. I'm going to just go where the adventure takes me. But yeah, very bright, very colourful, very fun. So that's Fern Calloway Fae Fantasy. A Critical Role. And now we move into the D&D books. So the first one that sits next to it is Dungeons and Dragons Monsters and Heroes of the Realm. This sits next to Fern Calloway because they're both the same size. They're both odd size books. So yeah, this was a gift, and oh my god, I am so grateful. I was gifted this. This is Happy Mail. This is a used copy. It is an old copy, and I basically screamed when this came in. I talked about on a live stream how I have been looking for this book for years. There are a few older books that I have been looking for, and this one is it, because I need it to have in my D&D collection. You can see here some of the work that's already been done by other people. And so this turned up, and I was absolutely blown away. I don't care that it was used, because this is another 2016 colouring book, and I was just so happy to have it in my collection and to have this book, because again, this is old D&D colouring book, and with the rise in popularity colouring of D&D and colouring, I hadn't found a copy of this for less than $100. And I'm not paying $100 for a book. I'm not even going to pay more than $20 for this book. Like, yeah, I want it, but I don't want it that much. And yeah, apparently the person that found this for a really amazing deal, which is so, so cool. But when it came in, it has all these gorgeous plates at the back, and these are all images from the actual Dungeon Master's Guide and Monster Guide, and from the books and stuff like that. So these are all actual D&D art from the different books, and you can see here whoever is own this book beforehand, what they have done, because in the back here it lists where the original art can be found. So for example, the Adventures Exploring page here that has started to be coloured in, it's got the artist, so Eric Belize, and it was featured in the Dungeon Master's Guide from 2014. So I have the Dungeon Master's Guide, so I can go and find this image. But the person that owned it beforehand actually went in here and recorded where all these images are in the pages, which is so cool. So, you know I need to go to page 35 of the Dungeon Master's Guide, and I'll find that image, which when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, that's so great. Like, clearly the person that owned this had the player's handbook and the Dungeon Master's Guide, because image 4 here was first featured in the Dragon magazine, which is a D&D magazine that was put out. But there's a note here that's also Player's Handbook, page 205. So that's really cool. Yeah, so I'm really excited to actually get in here, pull out my actual books, and match up these images and have some references. Plus, it's got all the references in the back too. So, yeah. So, and I'm just really excited to have this as well, because it's just the D&D book that was missing from my collection. Although, that being said, in 2026 they are releasing another D&D book, so I'll need to get my hands on that. Yeah. And then we have the D&D colouring book. So this is the one that was released in 2023. Now, I think there are also some really old D&D colouring books from the 1980s and 1990s. Again, I'm not worried so much about those. It would be cool to have them in my collection because of the fact that I am both a dungeon master. I have a bunch of D&D stuff, but I also am a colorist. Like, that sense is cool. But unless I find them for like a really great deal, I'm not going to rush out to colour them. I know there was back in the day little player words, little cardboard cutouts that you could color in that were officially licensed. You know, I know these things like that are around for old Wizards of the Coast. D&D. Wow, words. I'm talking red box. Like, I'm talking old. I know there is some stuff like that was around. Like, a lot of that stuff goes for really ridiculously expensive, and I don't know if I would ever actually be able to color it. I have no qualms coloring that Monsters and Heroes of the Realm coloring book. Like, But yeah, if it was like original Redbox stuff, I might be a bit like, that's original 1980s. It's 40 years old. I don't know if I could color that. So yeah, but I'm happy enough with what I've got. But yeah, anyway, Dungeons and Dragons. This is a whole ramble about Dungeons and Dragons coloring book. I've done a page in here, just the one. And I almost cried when I first started doing this page. And then I almost cried when I finished it because I love it so, so, so much. So when I first started doing this page, I used Derwent Inktense. And this is another one where the paper just does not move the ink. It just sits on the surface and it will not spread and blend. And it was so patchy and horrible when I did that first layer. Like, it was horrendous. And I'd originally planned to do the whole thing in Derwent Inktense. So I closed it and walked away, and I didn't want to look at this page for ages and ages. And then I was like looking at whips and stuff, and I was like, now hang on. Yeah, it's got the Derwent Inktense mess, but Prismacolor will probably cover that up. And so I just pulled out my Prismacolors and I went for it. Now, I did use a reference using this because this is the cover to a D&D supplemental book called Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, which is a very useful DM book to have. So I pulled that book out because I do own that book, and I use that to help me actually place the colors down. So mine's a little bit more vibrant than the original. I don't mind that. I did also add in, for example, glitter, and I went a little bit more intense with my splatter. The original also has like a grate up here that the moonlight is coming through, and I was like, I'm not adding that in. But yeah, I was so pleased with how I did the shading on her and that yellow and blue and brown, and I freaking love how this turned out. It's still one of my favorite pages. It's just so fun with the lighting effects, and I'm still like, that face is everything. I'm still so pleased with how I did that face. So yeah, I do need to get in here, and again, for a lot of the images in here are things from the actual D&D books or D&D covers. There's also Gelatinous Cube, which is one of my favorite D&D monsters, so that'll be fun to play with and figure out how to do jelly effects. But yeah, there's a bunch that are like actual cover, like that's Mordecai. And then I think that's Xanthas. That's Strahd. The one module I have never read or done anything about because I want to actually experience it as a player. So that's I own the book, I've never read it, and I've never looked into Strahd, and I've avoided spoilers this entire time. And I think at this point I just need to give up ever playing Strahd and just read it so I can run it myself. Anyway, I'm probably rambling about a whole bunch of stuff that 90% of you have no idea what I'm talking about, and that's okay, because this is a deep dive for me. Dungeons and Dragons coloring book. And then we have the Dragons of the Realms coloring book, which is the 2025 release. I have not gotten in here yet, but again, I freaking love it. It does use, again, official D&D images from some of the books and stuff. Oh, I have a bookmark in there. I marked that one. Why did I mark that one? I think I was going to work on that one because I've got a little tiny 5-headed dragon. And I did quite like her face. It's not perfect, but I did like it. I did have fun with that. I think I was also looking at doing this one, this introduction page. Actually, there's a hashtag for working the title pages, so that might be a good one to do for it, because I was like, I can pull out distress inks for the fire to do a fire effect, and then just black that out and have a glow. Just have the dragon. Yeah, might look at doing that one maybe. Although I'll have to be aware distress ink will bleed through. Anyway, yeah, that is Dragons of the Realm. Again, this is a sorted artist, I believe. I should actually find the artist name. Yeah, should say it at the back here. Just says art designer. Maybe they don't credit the artist. That's kind of sad. They don't actually name them. Art direction and designer. Yeah, the illustrations in this coloring book have been previously published in a different form. Well, it would be nice if you told us who actually illustrated them. That's kind of sad. maybe I can figure it out. Anyway, dragons. And then the last D&D colouring book I have, well, official D&D colouring book, I have one more that fits into the D&D theme. This is Dungeons & Dragons Adventures Outlined, and this is by Todd James. So this is another older D&D colouring book. He does quite a lot of cartoony style, so it's quite cool. Sorry, you got a sneak peek there. I'm just trying to find the publication of this one. I feel like it was 2018. Yeah, 2018. Look at that. Guessed correctly. Yeah, this is my very first purchase from BD&D, which if you're based in Aotearoa, New Zealand, top tier RPG store. This is my very first purchase, and that's how I found them, because I was looking for this colouring book. And yeah, so this is Adventures Outlined. I should have 3 pages done in here. So yeah, very different style, a lot more cartoony. And we have information on here. It's almost all single-sided. Most of it's single-sided, and then every once in a while there'll be a double-page spread. So it'll be like single, 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 and then a big double-page spread. Which I wish if they did that, they'd left that side blank as well, and then it truly would have been like all the way through, but that's okay. It is cool to have the doubles for a change. But yeah, I have done this beholder. I remember when I was doing this, it was part of a challenge where I was trying to keep like a really harmonious palette, a really limited palette. So originally it was meant to be just, you know, choose a color and use the 2 colors on the color wheel beside it. So like red, red, and that meant I had, well, I chose orange technically. So I had orange, which gave me red and yellow. So that was it. But I accidentally went 5 instead of 3. So I also included purple and pink. And I remembered partway through. So I just left the beholder and the purples and pinks and just used red, orange, and yellow for the entirety of the background. I also painted the majority of this. So I used acrylic paints to paint the entirety of the background. And this is Inktense. So yeah, I don't know why. And because the beholder is not done in acrylics, it's a little bit more paler because of the translucency of the Inktense, but it kind of makes the beholder look even more spooky because it's like pale in this dark but vibrant area. I don't know, I like it. I still really like this page. I think it's really cool. Of course, there's also a little bit of stickles because glitter, and magic always needs glitter. So yeah, that is my beholder. And then I also just have to be really careful because this book is falling apart a little bit because it is an older book. I've pulled it out quite a few times for this page here, and this is where my split is occurring, so I have to be really careful here. And that is because of my Dragon Horde page. So this one was when I first got Inktense. I think this was my very first big Inktense project where I was trying to work out how to work with the Inktense. So I actually coloured everything on here with Inktense. And I remember being really proud at the time of just achieving what I achieved with them. Now I look at it and I'm like, so much more. But I'm still really like the page because I remember that part of the journey and where we were. But because I couldn't at the time understand how to build up enough tone and texture in this, because I only did 1 layer. I didn't let it dry and deepen areas. I just did the 1 layer. So I came back in with white paint pens and I did all these like really sharp highlights. Considering it's like a, you know, cartoony, I was like, sharp highlights would look quite cool. And then he was getting a bit lost, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go around him in black and really make him pop out. And same with this one here, just to like really make these 2 clear as the focus and then give some depth to the background. It was also really essential after I did this background, because the reason why this book is falling apart and the challenge of this page is that for the treasure hoard, I decided I was going to use legit glitter. So I used Mod Podge and a mixture of like several golds and a bit of green and some silver and some holographic, and I made my own Mod Podge and I put it on here thick, like it is textured with glitter. So yeah, it's chonky. And then because there are a bunch of gems illustrated into it as well, I grabbed some tiny nail gems and I embedded those into the glitter, which means the dragon is on a literal glittering hoard, and I love how it looks. I still absolutely adore this page. I think it's so fun. I have no idea how on earth I'm going to colour this page. I'm probably going to need a photocopy for the Rakshasa, because, oh, that's going to be a nightmare. And as you can see, it's kind of causing my book to split because it's so chunky. But I still love the page. Even after all this time, I still love the page. So yeah, that is the Dungeons and Dragons Adventures Outlined colouring book. And then the last one in the D&D category is the Dungeon Master Goblin Quest colouring book. So this is from the publicators of Dungeon Meister, which is a series of books that you can get that can help you with DMing. It's got like lots of tools and stuff like that. And yeah, apparently they have like a podcast, and they have a cookbook as well. I've never seen the cookbook. I just knew about Dungeon Master and a dragon walks into the bar. But yeah, these, Jeff Aldrich and John Taylor, are the authors of this one, and then they hired Zachary Backus to illustrate it as well. And it's quite neat because it's a colouring book, but it's also a D&D campaign, and it gives you all the information to run this as a legit little story. It gives you like encounters, and the idea is that you can play this and then colour this according to how the game went, I guess. And a lot of the images are taken from what would be the story of the book. So it's a really unique one. It is a very detailed colouring book. Yeah, I did a buddy with this with Julianne and the art in it, and it took us so long because of how detailed these pages are. But they are really gorgeous, really fun, and it's just such a neat idea. So yeah, so I've always got this in the back of my mind that I can also use this to run an adventure if I ever just need an impromptu adventure. But here's the page I coloured. So this is part of the tavern where they all meet up. There's a few different scenes in the tavern, and you can see a lot of the different characters here. Yeah, so I should have technically written down my colours to keep my characters consistent if I wanted to. I was thinking of originally doing that, but I don't know if I will. We'll see. But yeah, we have this one here. It took so long, but I'm so happy with it. So I used Derwent Inktense to base and Polychromos pencils to shade. Tiny little bit of Posca for some highlights. I really don't want to use like gold or shimmer or metallics. I was trying to really focus on just building up my tones and textures. And of course I had to make the bunny a blue bunny. And I love the fact the Herringong is also in a wheelchair, because wheelchairs should be an official D&D item, though most people accept, you know, the combat wheelchair as an official D&D lore item, even though it is not. Pathfinder has official wheelchairs, just saying. Anyway, more tangents. Yeah, this was the page that I've done in here. Still absolutely love this page. Again, another book I desperately want to get into. Okay, so from D&D we move into technically TV series, books. It's kind of a bit of a mismatch. Games. I put Serenity next to D&D because there is a Serenity RPG system, but also this feels like if you took D&D and turned it into Space Cowboys. Okay? It cohesively goes in my mind. But yeah, these are the two Serenity colouring books. They're both called Serenity Fire Class 04K64. So the only difference between them is this one says Everything Shiny. So I just refer to this one as the Everything Shiny one, and this is just the Serenity one. Makes sense in my brain. But I have done one page in each of these. So I'll show you the Serenity one first. And this was an impromptu one done in 2025 of Anira and Mel. And this one I just used alcohol markers, and I was really trying to just get a bunch of shading done with just my alcohol markers. But I did end up using a bit of pencil to deepen the shading, a bit of Pablo, and a little bit of like a red iridescent pen and some gold on Anira, because of course, you know, she has to have a bit of shine. And then really trying to make the candles like a little bit of a yellow glow everywhere. Just a really simple one. It was while I was in a Discord group hang and we were watching Serenity Firefly once again because it's a great series. Such a good series. So that's my one page in that one. And then I have the Everything Shiny. And I've done one page in here as well, which is this one here. This is one of the very first pages I did where I used Crayola Super Tips as watercolor. And I specifically used the Colors of the World set because it's got so many different browns in there. So it was perfect for doing all the different colors of these characters. And then I remember having all the characters done and doing the spaceship. And I was like, I don't know what to do for the sky. Like, how do I set this? It's so brown, so I don't want to do blue. But I don't know. I don't know what other colors to pull. And someone said, make the sky on fire. I was like, the fire in the sky. Of course it is. So yeah, that's why we did the red, orange, yellow, and it was just perfect. Such a good suggestion. And then I did use a yellow polychromos pencil to just do a bit of glow from, you know, the sky above. So yeah, they've all got a little bit of glow on them. Yes, really, really pleased with how that turned out. Still absolutely love that one too. So much work. Again, done while watching Firefly again in this Discord as well. This is multiple rewatches of the series. Between this, it's 3 rewatches of the series. It's a good series. Alright. So yeah. Technically a book series, a video game, a TV series. This one is based on the game. So this is the Witcher colouring book. It's been produced by CD Projekt Red, who are the people behind the video game. And so good. Again, this is a collaboration of artists as well. So we have the different illustrators there. Absolutely a gorgeous book, and I have done just the one in here, but I have done Siri. I do need to come in here one day and lighten up her skin and her face, her hair, and just add a little bit of white pencil. Same with her top. I just need to bring some white back into here, or I need to black out this background. So I used water-based markers to colour in this whole page, and I really do like what I achieved here. Like, the water-based markers did a fabulous job, but the areas that are meant to be white in her pale skin currently look really, really dark, and that's because of this white of the background throwing it. So I need to either black out this background or bring in some white, or maybe both. So yeah, but I'm still counting it down because I'll do that one day when I get the spoons to do it, but if it doesn't happen till then, it doesn't happen. In the meantime, it's water-based markers and a little bit of a silver gel pen. Yeah, really like it. Sometimes I just really enjoy colouring with water-based markers. Like, reminds me so much of being a kid and pulling out the felt pens, and yeah. Alright, and then we have The Lunar Chronicles, which is a series by Marissa Meyer. If you like fairy tales, this is like futuristic fairy tales. Really cool series. And this book is really cool. So it's been illustrated by Catherine Gee. And it talks about in the start how this book actually came together, because it wasn't going to be a book until basically the fans got it to come to life, because Catherine Gee did an illustration and coordinated it to be a colour, like a group colouring project where they all had little 4x4 squares, and at different events that Marissa Meyer went to, she received these little squares, and they built up to be this image, and it had been coloured in by the community, by all different members of the community, all these little different squares. And Marissa Meyer was so impressed by it that she's reached out to Catherine Gee and said, let's make an actual colouring book using your gorgeous illustrations. So that's really cool. So yeah, it has from quite a few of the series, quite a few of the books, and I have done Queen Lavanna. or at least a representation of her. But yeah, I really wanted to make her, you know, absolutely flawless, because if you know, you know. So this one I used black acrylic paint to just block out that background because I wanted her to like pop. And then Inktense to base, Polychromos to shade, and a couple of metallic brush pens, like these glittery brush iridescent pens that I have on the dress and on the frame up here as well, and silver on the crown, so she's got a bit of iridescence to her as well. But yeah, love how she is. So that's the Lunar Chronicles. And then, so from there, we're obviously into like the books, the colouring books about books. So I have two by, well, the books are by Sarah J. Maas. This is a collaboration of illustrators again. So we have A Court of Thorns and Roses and Throne of Glass. I don't know why I stumbled on Throne there. Again, collaboration of illustrators. So we have John Howe again and Yvonne Gilbert, and we also have Craig Phillips in here. The majority of these are Yvonne Gilbert. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I have done one in here, which is this page here. This has been done with Derwent Inktense, one yellow pencil, and that's it. I think it was a Pablo. And yeah, I saw this page and was like, this is going to be absolutely gorgeous to colour, but also very harmonious to colour. And I found that really intriguing to do all this stonework. So I worked a couple of greys and browns into all the stones, and then obviously the browns into her, and then I wanted to bring a little bit of the yellows in that I knew I'd be using over here, and then this character here gets a bit of the browns as well. So yeah, just trying to keep it basically grey, brown, yellow, orange, like really, really limited in my colour palette, but I love it. It's just, it's cool. And also the angle of it, I think, is what makes it cool. So yeah, I'm still really love that page. And then we have the Court of Thorns and Roses colouring book. I have re-listened to the audiobook so many times for colouring in this book, because I find that really fun to do, to listen to an audiobook as I colour in something related to that media. So yeah, I've only done 2 pages in here though, but I love them. So I have done Elaine in her garden, which I love this one so much. Once again, this is Inktense. A little bit of stickles on the butterflies, but all Inktense. I went into this, the only flowers I knew for certain was we were going to be doing the purple and white tulips, because the story actually talks about the purple and white tulips, and the rest of it was just as see fit. I just wanted lots of colour, lots and lots of colour. And then when it came to colouring Elaine, I was like, I'll keep her blue. So I tried to not do too many blue flowers in the garden, because I knew she would be a lot of blue. And then yeah, lots of greens and natural colours for the house, and yeah, I just really like it. It was such a fun page to do. I didn't show the illustrators of this one, but I know John Howe's one of them again. Yeah, Craig Phillips, John Howe, Yvonne Gilbert, and this one has Charlie Boatwater and Adrian Didich as well. And then the other one I've done in here is the Spring Court, which I really love this one too. This one is another water-based markers page. I did this at the same time I was doing the Lord of the Rings one with all the green. I did this one first, then I did the Lord of the Rings one, and that's why I got sick of green, because it's like, this is just too much green this month. But yeah, I really, really love this one. Normally I would look at this and go, this is just too much saturation, it's too vibrant. But if you read the description for the Spring Court, it's talked about as being the most beautiful and intense and overwhelming and glorious court that you've ever been to. So it's like, if I was ever going to do the most candy coated of candy, spring, bright, colourful, over the top, flowery, you know, if there's ever a place that called for saturation, it was the Spring Court. Maybe the Summer Court. So yeah, I decided to go for it with the markers. There's a little bit of paint pen as well for all the different flowers, and then there's also a bit of iridescent marker in that sky, which I don't think picks up too well, but a little bit of the pink has a bit of iridescent in there too. So yeah, that is the 2 pages that I've done in the Court of Thorns and Roses colouring book. And then I have the Fourth Wing colouring book. Now, there's actually 2 Fourth Wing colouring books. I happen to be listening to, I've only listened to the first 2 books. Unfortunately, the third one is not available on my audiobook library app because I don't have audiobooks. I hire them from the library for free because I'm cheap. I'd rather spend my money on colouring books. But this one came to a local colouring bookstore, my local bookstore, and I raced down to go get it because I was like, oh my god, yes, I'm listening to this book. I was near the end of book 2 when I got this, so yeah, I might need to rehire out the books so I can colour on this. But there's 2 books. There's this one with the black cover and there's one with the gold cover. And I didn't realise that when I went to pick this up, it was the black cover one. I didn't realise there were 2 types. The gold cover one is actually by... drawing a blank on the name. Lydia Fenwick, who I am just realising should have been done in C1 shelf and I forgot to do her. So I'm just going to put that to the side. We're going to go through that book in a minute. Yeah, so the gold cover one is done by Lydia Fenwick. And I thought this was the Lydia Fenwick book. I did not realise that this book existed. But when I got down there and picked it up, I was like, oh, okay. I had a quick flick and I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's not what I thought it would be. But cool, it's Fourth Wing. I'll pick it up. I'll grab it. Took it home, sat down properly, and then realised and went, oh, this is not Lydia Fenwick at all. This is a collection of different illustrators. And a lot of them are just created like little fan arts and stuff like that. Like, it's so cool that they just have all these different people that they brought together to create a book of different illustrations. So some of them, like, I don't really care about that. Like that, I don't see myself actually colouring. But they're absolutely gorgeous. They're super cute. Like, that's really cool. There's some really cool pages. There's one in particular. I love that. It's quite simple, be fun. I love, love, love this one. Love that one. That's very cute. Cute. Also really cool. I can see doing something funky with that. So yeah, some of them, like, I can really see doing. I love that one. Yeah, so it's a interesting book, and I love these ones at the start too. The stained, that one, and this one. Oh, yeah, so cool. So yeah, I do need to still colour in here, but still a very cool book. Not the book I thought it was, but still a really cool book. I would still love to get my hands on the Lydia Fenwick book. Right. So yeah, that one is unworked and is correct on my list. I am now just going to quickly find Oceans to Stars. And we're going to mark this as C1 because this should have been done on the previous shelf. Whoops, my bad. The reason why it's out is because I am currently working on a page in here. But the page has not been completed, nor was it in progress as of December 31st or January 1st. So this colouring collection tour is a snapshot of my collection as of January 1st of the year. So I'm recording this one, for example, on January 5th. I don't know if they'll pick up. So we're a couple days into the year and I've started working on a page in here, which is, you know, awesome because this is currently an untouched book. So I'm excited to get to a page in here. But it doesn't count as a WIP because it's a January page. So as of January 1st, this was an untouched book. But as of right now, Amy's currently working on a page in here. So yeah. So normally I would show this in the collection and be like, oh look, untouched book. Move on. But like I said, I forgot to include it when I did that shelf because it's out because I've been currently working on it. Anyway, random diversion. Back to the actual fandom shelf. I have the Life is Strange colouring book. Now this is one where I have done a page in here and I do love the page in here. This book is based on the actual comics, not the actual video game art. I think I would like it a bit more if it was based on the video game art rather than the comic art. It's still really cool with the comic art, but there's a very old flip through of this book on the channel and I talk about a couple of things that I don't like about it. Mostly that it looks quite pixelated along the edges of a lot of this, because it is very blown up illustrations from a comic, but it's also the brush that they use for the artwork as well. But yeah, it's still a really cool book. It's a really cool video game series, but I don't pull this one out a lot. However, you can see I need to put a protection sheet in here. I did say in the previous recorded part as well that there was a book I was contemplating unhauling. This is a book I'm contemplating unhauling, but I want to have a year where there's no pressure on myself to work books. I've kind of put a lot of pressure on myself in previous years to work in untouched books, which has made me avoid certain books because I've already worked in them. I did less of that in 2025, but that was still in the back of my mind. But the other thing as well is that there are some books in my collection that have been untouched for a long time, and it's like I need to colour in it because it's untouched. It's been untouched for ages. I need to colour in it. I need to colour in it. And because I need to colour in it, I don't colour in it because I'm putting that pressure on myself to colour in it. So I kind of want to give myself another year of just no rules. Whatever happens, happens. And maybe at the end of 2026, I will, if I still think I'm going to unhaul these books, I'll unhaul it then. Because I'm also very changeable in my mind. I was actually watching Winter's 89's wrap up, and she was talking about how she has some books where maybe they could be unhauled, but she's going to give herself a year because she's also very aware that she may change her mind, that things change, and if in a year she's still feeling the same, maybe she'll unhaul it. But just as likely to not feel it, not want to change their mind and not want to unhaul the book, and has unhauled books in the past that they regret. And I've done that too. I've unhauled books and I'm like, yeah. So yeah, I did unhaul 17 books at the end of 2025. They were mostly just Shutterstock kids books because I have cute and cozy books now that I would rather colour rather than those Shutterstock cute books. So I unhauled those ones. I unhauled some giant posters that I'm just not going to spend the time colouring because it's school holidays and there's a bunch of kids that need activities and it's perfect. So I was like, we'll get rid of those. But yeah, something like this, I did debate it and I was like, nah, I'm going to hold on to it for another year. I also really love this page, so I would also be cutting this page out because I still love how this page looks. So this one, the original is Max with these butterfly wings, and then there was like a butterfly path along here. And I didn't want to colour it as is. I was like, that's boring. I want to do it the way I see it. So what I did is I photocopied the page twice. And in one copy, I just coloured in Max. You can see a little bit here where it has slightly shifted to the side over time. But yeah, coloured Max with alcohol markers. And then on the second copy, I very carefully cut out the wings and the inner of the wings. And all these little things, and then I went over all of the wings with a black alcohol marker, which just sort of cleared up the edges if I'd missed like a millimeter or two and made it a really nice solid black. And then into the book itself, I stuck a scrapbooking card, this beautiful background piece, and then this iridescent holographic paper. I stuck that behind the wings, which then stuck the black layer on top, which then stuck this part on top of all of that. So a lot of different layers. And then I just used a punch with that same holographic paper, cut out a bunch of butterflies, and I stuck everything down with some Mod Podge glitter, extreme glitter, and a bit of Mod Podge over here for these guys. And yeah, I love this page. I think this is so cool. This is, yeah, such a cute page in the book. So, do love that page. But yeah, I haven't, since doing that page, have not touched this book since. So, maybe we'll get to it this year. So that's Life is Strange. Then we have the Wicked official colouring book. This is now where we kind of get a bit random with some of the fandoms because it's random. So yeah, I have the Wicked official colouring book. I have not coloured in this year. I've also not seen Wicked. I was going to go to the theatres to see one. I love the stage show of Wicked. I used to help out in musical theatre and work in musical theatre as a follow spot operator, as a lighting person. Don't ask me about lighting. I have no idea how the lightings worked. I was the only person in lighting who did not care how lights worked. they were all lighting nerds and would talk about the componentries and the bits. And I was like, look, I don't even know how these things work. I know I just put this plug into this plug and I turn this on. But I was really good at follow spotting, and that's to do with my analytical, logical brain and loving of musical theatre and really enjoying. I follow spotted so differently to everyone else. Like, everyone else up there would have their follow spots, which are ginormous, by the way. You're basically hugging a heater as you do this. And so hot. You're in the top of the theatre. You're sweating like crazy. So I'm up there in a singlet with arm warmers because it's so hot to hold the light. And I felt like I was burning my arms, and I would literally be hugging it. And the rest of the follow spots would do it by feel in there. I would go in with a piece of masking tape. I would mark my light, and I would mark numbers. I would like break down the show and my cues, and I would be like, here I need to hit spot 10 on stage right with this brightness and this, and I would have it all numbered. And so I would be very consistent, and I would hit the same marks every time. And that's why I was apparently very good as a follow spot, and I got invited back to a lot of them. I wasn't so good on the fly when technical things went wrong, because of course I couldn't follow my pre-formulaic way of doing it, but it was okay. That's what the others were for, because they were good at improvising on the fly. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing it, and I do miss lighting. It's not something I can do as much now. But one of the shows that I have lit is Wicked, and I was actually the one that was lighting Alphaba most of the time, so I was doing a lot of green as well, which is really fun. But yeah, tangent, I haven't seen the actual movie part 1 or part 2 yet. I do want to see both of them. I kind of want to do a binge and watch both of them together as a big old movie. Really excited to see it. Love the stage show. Need to get in here and colour this. Yeah, it's really cool. Just haven't got there yet. Eventually. Another one I haven't coloured is the Knights of Tayrealm. This is by Aleph Vernon, and this is based on the eras of Taylor Swift. And basically it's every era of Taylor Swift imagined as a heroine, and very fae, fantasy, absolutely gorgeous. You don't have to colour each of these pages as if it was Taylor Swift. You could just colour it as a beautiful heroine, which is exactly how I'm planning to approach the book. I just want to go in there and colour a bunch of lovely heroines and just have fun with it. So Taylor's going to get a bunch of different hair colours because I can't do the same hair colour every time. I would get bored. So yeah, I just haven't got here yet, but this is another one that I really do want to get to this year because, oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. The illustrations are just stunning. I just wish this was single-sided, because could you imagine just an alcohol marker? Yeah. I mean, some of them will be harder in alcohol marker, but absolutely gorgeous. So definitely another one to get to. It is unfortunately unworked at the moment, but we will get there. And then this tiny little colouring book is the Junimo colouring book. So this is by an illustrator called Kari Fry, and it says Concerned Ape down here, who is the creator of Stardew Valley, because this is a Stardew Valley colouring book. It is an officially licensed product for Stardew Valley. If you are familiar with the video game, it is my favourite video game. I love this. I have about 500 hours in this game across all the platforms I own this game on, which is multiple. I just recently got it for my cell phone. I didn't need to, but I had to. Yeah, so this is in Jazz's room. She has a colouring book, and it's the Junimo colouring book, and they turned it into a real life product, which is really cute. I love it. So this has only got 16 pages in it. It's just a sweet little colouring book, single-sided, perforated, which unfortunately the perforation be strong, so I have got a couple pages that I have had to stick down in here. Yeah, so like that one is here. And same with this one, I've had to stick it down because of course I've flipped it a few times. But this is one of the pages I've done in there. I of course had to start with the Moonlight Jellies because I love the Moonlight Jellies. Of course I do. I also love fishing in Stardew. That's my thing. Myself and the lovely This Is Ruby Okay, we have a what we call chill farm, and sometimes we'll just jump on voice call and play on this farm and just chat, and we just chill about. But we have little things. Ruby loves to go to the mines and also dig up artifacts, and I love to go fishing. And so that's what we do. Is I just go fishing all day. She goes to the mines, and then we come back, and maybe we'll do some planting. We just potter around. We're not rushing to do anything. We just vibe and have fun with it. So yeah, it's been a while since we've played the chill farm, but I might message her when she's back home and be like, hey, want to go back to the farm? Really fun to do. But yeah, this one here is Polychromos pencils, whole bunch of Mod Podge Extreme glitter, a little bit of gold metallic, and Posca. And I really wanted to remove all the lines on the jellies. Yeah, love this one so much. So this book was created pre-Ginger Island, so it doesn't have anything past, I think 1.5 is Ginger Island from memory, because we just had 1.6. Yeah, we're on 1.6 at the moment, so I'm pretty sure it's got up to 1.5. Yeah, and then I have this one at the back, which is just the little Junimos Colouring and Concerned Apes little logo. This one I used alcohol markers and Pablos. Just kept it really simple. Yeah, just a cute little page. Unfortunately, my yellow is yellowing a little bit, but it's okay as long as it doesn't come through on the front, which it hasn't. We're fine. And one day I will go in here and actually translate all the actual Junimo language that's written everywhere. I just haven't done it yet. So that's the Junimo colouring book. Cute little colouring book. And then the last fandom books I have on the shelf is my Disney books. Now, this isn't all my Disney books. I also have some that are in my kids section, because those are more kid books. I also have a couple that are in my cozy books, because they're cozy books. So yeah, my Disney is split up across several shelves, and even these ones, which is my Thomas Kincaid Disney books, are split up across 2 shelves, but that is because this one does not fit on the bottom shelf. So this lives back on C1 with the fold out Pictoria style books, just because it's big, it's chunky, so it's difficult to fit onto the shelf, but I love it. So this is the Thomas Kincaid Studios Disney Princess colouring book. This is the poster book. And oh my gosh, if I recommend any of these Thomas Kincaid books, I'd say the poster book, because it's bigger. You get really good quality images, but a lot of these books, the images that are in here are just sections of these. So you might just get, for example, this Rapunzel on the boat is, sneak peek, it's just a section, it's not the whole image. There's so much more to the image, so the posters are actually the full image, which I really like. So I do have a whip in here. I have not got a completed page, but I have got a whip in here, and I do love how this is progressing, so I do want to get back in here and do a little bit more on it at some point. But I've just done a bit of the night sky, and this is Beauty and the Beast Dancing in the Moonlight. Beauty and the Beast is one of my favourite Disney films. I love it so much. It's just, yeah, I think when I was younger, like now I look at it and I'm like, you know, older eyes and a bit of perspective. Yeah, okay. But when I was younger, I just saw Belle and her love of reading and how big the Beast library was, and how it was so cool that she could see past this angry person to the person he was inside. And it's like, she saw the true him, and that was really cool to see beyond what someone looks on the outside. Older Amy has a bit more understanding about the situation, but younger Amy thought it was really nice. So yeah, I just remember loving Belle a lot. Plus, you know, the animated characters are really cute, like the animated teapot and clock, and you know, yeah, again, older Amy, a little bit more understanding. But yeah, I still love the imagery of this image. Also, the lighting effects on this image are really cool. There's a reason why I wanted to go with this image. No, that's the other Beauty and the Beast page. Oh, no, not one there. There it is up here. So on the original image, sorry, we might be a bit out of focus here, but it's about the tones that you're seeing. So you can see the background is all these cool blues and purples, but then we've got this little bit of yellow that brings us all the way around here. We've got all this gorgeous yellow glow, except for this tiny little bit of pink up here. I just love the way that this is lit with all the warm in the foreground and then all the cool in the background. But then we've got that taifa of the pink all the way across. So your eye comes all the way across. We've got the taifa of the reds all the way across. You might notice we've got all the red flowers, the little red footstool dog, and then Gaston in his red. Even the way the clouds are done and the river all pointing to this point in the center, so your eye is kind of being drawn around and around and around and around, and I really like it. It's very clever how it's been done with all the way the colors being used on the page, so I'm really excited to replicate it. I really enjoy the challenge of replicating these. They're not easy coloring. I've learned I can't rush this. I just have to go with this when I'm in the mood to sit down and do this, and I have not been in the mood for a little bit. And I learned that while doing the one completed page I have done in all of my Thomas Kincaid books. So yeah, I have the Disney Princess coloring book and the Celebrations coloring book, and I haven't done anything in either of these except flip them multiple times. But in the Thomas Kincaid original Dreams collection coloring book, I have done the one that you saw sneak peeked before, the Tangled page. And yeah, I had so much fun doing this. I did it over several streams, and I was really pushing myself to really try and replicate this image. I went in knowing I couldn't exactly replicate it because, of course, this is oil paint, so it's never going to be perfect. But my God, am I pleased with what I did manage to replicate of it. Like, yeah, so pleased. So this was also the first page where I really started mixing up my sets of pencils. So I went into this looking for a specific color and a specific texture rather than going, I'm using polychromos on this page. So there is Inktense, there's Pablos, there's Prismas, there's Polys. There is lots of paint pens, no glitter. But yeah, lots of paint pens on this one too. This is also where I was playing around with like lifting paint pens and like putting down some and lifting some away. And I learned a lot doing this one. So yeah, I do really want to get in here and do some more of them. Yeah, I got a lot of them to do. Really gorgeous book. So that's my Thomas Kincaid books. And then there's a couple more books that live on the bottom of the shelf, and that is what I refer to as my spooky collection. Now you can see it's not big, and interesting enough, this book here, I actually had a note in it, if untouched December 2025, unhaul. Now I talked about before about why I'm not unhauling anything this year. I'm going to keep that book for another year, because again I was putting that you should touch it, you should touch it, you should touch it pressure on myself, and because of that I haven't touched it. This is a Supernatural official colouring book. I still really like the line work in here. I really like the illustrations. I like the fact we've got the stills in the back, so I've got some references, because yeah, I've watched a couple episodes of the show. I didn't really get into it. I don't really care for it. I was told that perhaps I maybe need to skip ahead a couple of seasons and then I would actually enjoy it, which could see happening. But yeah, this is the Supernatural colouring book, Monsters, Demons and Spirits, and I have not touched it yet, so maybe we'll get in here this year. I do want to do a little bit more spooky colouring because I actually have a fair bit of spooky colouring and I've been enjoying it more and more lately. I then have Alice's Nightmare in Wonderland. This is by Jonathan Green with illustrations by Kev Crossley. Just done the one in here. This was just like a random find that I found in a secondhand collection of books that I got gifted. No, that I purchased. I purchased a bunch of them off Facebook Marketplace. I think this was just one that was thrown in there as well. I believe this is the only page I've done there. Yeah, and there is one page that's been started by the previous owner as well. Very cool illustrations. Very difficult to colour some of these. Yeah, that's the one that's been started. So yeah, very spooky version of Alice in Wonderland, and I've just done this one. I just did it with some alcohol markers. It's pretty straightforward, to be honest. It's I think the illustrations are just so dark. I don't think you could really do much more except a bit of alcohol marker, to be honest. Like, yeah. And this is also like super, super thin Amazon paper, like even worse than usual Amazon paper. Like, it's absolutely the thinnest of the thinnest paper. So, yeah. It also have the hideous soft touch covers that I hate, so I should also laminate that at some point. And then we have Universal Monsters. This is by Alan Roberts, and I've done one double page spread in here, which is the werewolf page. This was during my painting era where I had a real fixation on painting a bunch of colouring pages, so I did this one. I look at this and I'm like, yeah, I could do a little bit more detail on here. Like, it is very flat, but I also really liked it, and I really enjoyed painting this page. It was really fun at the time, and the work that is in here, like the line work and stuff, I think this would actually suit painting for quite a few of these, because it is quite big, wide areas. So yeah, really, really cool book. Alan Roberts has a really cool style. So yeah, really interesting line work. So you never know, maybe I'll get inspired to do some more painting in here this year. Maybe it'll be a painting book, I don't know. But yeah, just the double page spread in Universal Monsters, so the 2 pages. And then we have the Beauty of Horror 1. This is the only Beauty of Horror book that I have by Alan Roberts. I'm not letting myself get any more until I've shown some more love to this one. Although that being said, some of the newer releases I think I would enjoy colouring a lot more than the original Beauty of Horror. So yeah, but the one page I have done in here is of course the memes. So yeah, distress inks in the background, and then polychromos pencils for the actual little zombie memes. And originally I was going to do their bottoms in 2 different colours, but it's very tangly, so I kind of mucked up, so I just made the bottoms harmonious. But yeah, so that's the only one I have done in here. And again, I don't reach for these books a lot, and I will admit they are the most difficult books for me to access. They are absolutely buried at the bottom of my cupboards, and yeah, not my usual go-to. So be interesting to see if they do make it back for 2027's complete collection tour. But as I said, I don't want to rush to unhaul anything this year. This will just be something I think about, and we'll see how we go. And you never know, maybe I will fall absolutely in love with colouring these books this year. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't touch them for another year. We'll see. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed another very long collection video, but I'm enjoying doing these in really, really long forms. So definitely working for me getting through all these books this year. So yeah, I hope you're enjoying these super long collection videos. We will have another part coming out soon where we will be going through even more of my collection. All the araha to you all. Thank you so much for watching. If you did make it all the way to the end, let me know. Give yourself some kudos on the chat. Let me know down below. If you want to have a closer look at any books, or you know, you just want to be like, I love the page, or I don't know, I just love hearing from you guys. These videos are a lot for me to record and edit and upload, so you know, let me know what you think. Always love hearing from you all. Take care, as I said, all the araha, and I'll catch you all in the next part. Bye.